that decision, because that decision was taken by the May Malabuni-led caretaker committee. So they need to come down and ratify that decision too. And then we move forward from there.
How about the issue of the mode of primaries to adopt? Um, is that also something that was decided upon, but it's just a case of the party not being ready to announce it yet?
Well, the APC constitution was quite clear about the mode of primaries. It left the room open for direct, indirect, and also consensus. I think from their NEC meeting yesterday, the powers of the NEC have been transferred to the NWC, and the NWC is going to decide on the appropriate mode of primaries that will suit all party faithful, so that we don't have internal rancors as we move along this electioneering process.
All right, all right. So this news coming out on all platforms, newspapers and electronic media like ours, and you have social media. You're saying you can't confirm that because it's almost the same thing that happened to the rumor as far as zoning is concerned.
You're right.
All right.
Some of this news we hear on the media will actually be, yes, they may be authentic news, but they also need the authentication of the party. So until the publicity secretary comes out to tell us this is what has been decided, it still remains speculation.
As far as you're concerned, as a member of the All Progressives Congress, I mean, I know the party's constitution recognizes both direct and indirect primaries, and this was a paramount or was really seen in 2019 when Adams Oshiomhole was chairman of the party, adopting different primaries in different states or modes of primary in different states. But as far as you're concerned, for the 2023 elections, what would be the ideal mode of selecting or electing the party's flag bearers? Would it be indirect, or will it be directly by the party members?
Okay, considering the situation of things at the moment and how the party has been able to handle some of this internal crisis, I think the most appropriate mode of primaries would be an indirect primary. We can have all delegates across wards, local government, and everybody coming down to one location within the country to have a primary election. So I think according to the party's calendar, we still have the delegate election coming up soon, and that will determine who are going to be delegate at the primary election. So let's keep watching as things unfold. The appropriate mode of primary is going to be communicated by the right authority in the party.
All right. Another thing that came out from that particular meeting was President Muhammadu Buhari warning against imposition as the APC decides on its candidates for the 2023 elections. The president warned the leaders of the All Progressives Congress at both the national and state levels against factions and imposing unpopular candidates as the 2023 election approaches. Do you foresee that this call and this directive by the president will be heeded, bearing in mind the nature of the politics that we see at play in the country today?
Well, there might be some dissent here or there, but I think majority will heed to this clarion call of the president not to impose candidates. Imposing candidate is a recipe for disaster in the party. So we can't afford to impose an unpopular candidate on the people. And this should go across all levels, from the local government election down to the highest election in the country. We should learn to allow democratic process a part. Let a popular candidate emerge through the official process that has been designated by the party. Having to impose candidate will actually be the downfall of a party. We've seen this in several states where candidates were imposed, and at the end of the day, the unpopular candidate couldn't win the vote. So having a popular candidate will be a guarantee for success at whatever level that they are contesting.
Well, Jibril, this is quite clear. I mean, you've said it already. It's best to have a popular candidate. But I'm sure we would also do ourselves justice by recognizing the dynamics at play in the different states across the federation. I mean, the president said the same thing you're saying. He talked about the cost to the APC in previous elections, this attitude of imposing candidates or imposition of candidates by, so-called godfathers. But, is this easy? Because you have some dynamics at play across the country, different situations and different scenarios, different historical factors, different zoning formulas and zoning arrangements that may make it imperative for certain popular candidates to be asked to step aside, or to be asked to sit it out, or to not be supported by the powers that be in a party. For fairness sake, you're also aware that the APC has several parallel executives, let me call it that, across different states, following the congresses that held, around the country. We had, so in some states, like Akwa Ibom State, you had 3 excos coming up. So how can these challenges be surmounted? Will it be that easy, for power brokers in the party to not select or impose? I can give you examples, and I'm sure you're well aware of this.
Definitely. I think the new party executive have it as part of their mandate to reconcile all states that have parallel factions. I think part of those states include Akwa Ibom, like you have rightly mentioned, and even river states, like you have mentioned. And all of these states that have parallel function, as they are as a result of imposition of candidates. And I think it is quite appalling that at this point in our political history, some power brokers will feel they are strong and powerful enough to impose candidates. We've gone past the period of 1999. This is 2022. People are more aware politically. People are more knowledgeable, and people understand this political process better now. Imposing a candidate would definitely be a recipe for disaster. There are quite a lot of court cases here and there, and this is not going to augur well for the party. The party lost Zamfara due to imposition. So we don't want to have a repeat of such crisis anymore in our party. And the new executive of the party have it as part of their top mandate, in their top banner, to ensure that every state that have factions are reconciled, and let's have one unified body across the state up to the federal level.
All right. But before I bring in our guests in studio, Victor Nilaju, Jibril, what does it mean? Can you explain this to us? We hear the National Executive Committee of the party transferred powers to the National Working Committee until July 2022, and I'm trying to understand how that works. We're bearing in mind that both bodies have their own respective functions. For instance, we told the party secretary, Dr. Yelao Mishore, disclosed that the powers of the National Executive Committee will be handed over or delegated to the National Working Committee. The president also told the new members of the National Working Committee, which had been delegated the powers of the NEC, to work towards keeping the party together. So what's at play here? Can you explain this to us?
Okay, I think there's a provision in the INEC law that we actually need to meet up with this electoral timetable. So we're trying to see how we can meet up with this electoral timetable. So we want to have an expanded house. The National Working Committee involves ESCOs across the states, party executive across the states. It's a more expanded house so that decision making are faster, and we can arrive at a decision and have our delegate list and our candidate list submitted to INEC at the right time, so that we meet up with the INEC guidelines without having any rancors or issues here and there, where it has to pass from the state down before it gets to the NEC, the National Executive Committee. So the NWC, transferring the powers of the NEC to the NWC, is to expedite actions, to see that things are done faster, and we can meet up with most of these INEC deadlines, because we wasted quite a lot of time during the May Malabuni-led caretaker committee. Now we need to meet up. We've not even started the sale of forms yet. So all these things are meant to expedite the party's activity, to see that we meet up with INEC timetable. Thank you.
All right. Now, having looked at what transpired in the issues, I've kept Victor Anilaji on eyes because he's not a member of the APC, so might not be informed about the workings of that meeting. Except Victor, it's something you've not told us. Last time I checked, you're a member of the NNPP. Now, let's go straight. And Jibrila, I'm sure very well aware of this, as we all are, of the contention or the contentious issue of the cost of the nomination and expression of interest forms by the All Progressives Congress. I mean, social media was on fire last night. Radio stations and TV stations, were on fire yesterday. Let's not waste time. We'll just give you the total. For the House of Assembly election, you have the total sum of 2 million naira for the form. For the House of Representatives election, you have 10 million naira, the total sum for the form. For the Senate election, you have the total of 20 million naira for the form. For the governorship election, you have a total of 50 million naira for the form. And then for the presidential election, you have a total of 100 million naira for the form. Expression of interest and nomination total, APC. Victor Anilaji, you are a young politician, aspiring president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the platform of the NNPP. Can you understand why people are screaming and are complaining about this 100 million naira presidential nomination form or presidential form cost by the APC?
Well, okay, let me first of all say thank you for having me in your show today. For us as the current generation, we see it as a way to disenfranchise the younger visionary candidates. Because I do not think there's a Nigerian today within the age of 50 below that will want to put in 100 million to purchase a nomination form. That is one. Then number two is the party itself, the party executives have just said to Nigerians that we know how much most of our political offices holder, how much they normally we take or steal from government. So they want to take their own first.
Is that what the party said?
But that's just, okay, look at the price.
Yeah.
House of Rep, 10 million. Senate, 20 million. Because they know that the Rep earn lesser than the Senate. Governor, 50 million. President, 100 million. What are you taking those money for? What party needs? Its membership. It's so sad that instead of party to be driving membership, they're driving money. So that tells you that their methodology to win the 2023 election is to buy votes. There is no way on earth in advanced countries where party will be running after money rather than running after membership, right? If you take for example in the US, they will give you an option. You pay half the price and you give them like maybe 12,000 members. And it's so a shame for us now that we are asking for you to get the nomination form to bring 100 million naira.
Nomination and expression of interest form.
They
presidential
all go
forms.
together.
Yeah.
They all go together. 100 million naira. Sir, if you put 100 million naira into a party, what are you going to do? We are complaining that there is insecurity. That itself will increase the tension. That itself will make people want to do the issue of a do or die primaries. I cannot lose my 100 million naira. So they want to do everything possible to make sure that they win. We thought that APC will be a party that will show us example because they are the ruling party, to show us modern way of doing things, to add morale into what they are doing. Let me now say this. Nobody that have worked their time and energy to make money we put in 100 million naira for nomination form, right? So what they are indirectly saying now to their aspirants is to steal more money from governments and come and give to their party. Because I do not think that as a political office holder, you should cough out 100 million to get your nomination form. That is another way of encouraging corruption.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Jibril, let's start from, because you are, leader of the Young Progressives, so let's start from there. Victor here in the studio, Victor Nilaju is a presidential aspirant. He's a young Nigerian. You are a member, an active member of the Young Progressives Congress. You're a leader group. You're also a young Nigerian. The first point Victor has made is that this new cost of the nomination and expression of interest forms by your political party for the various elections is a ploy by the APC, your party, to disenfranchise and exclude young people, young Nigerians from the political process. What do you say to that?
Okay, let me start by stating this, that no political party in our recent history have had an inclusive government like the All Progressive Congress. The sales of form, let's get this right. Elections are not tea party. They are a very cumbersome process, and they are a very long and tiring process that are time-consuming and energy-sapping and also money-draining. Let's be factual about this. The fact about saying it disenfranchises young people, that is absolutely not correct. Does he also know that the party actually made it that the young people under the age of 40 are going to get their nomination form at a 50% discounted rate, and all female aspirants are going to get their form free? No political party, not even the new party, have done this. So this is an inclusive policy that will push this process. If you want to conduct, let's get this right. There are over 170,000 polling units in the country. And the party needs to post agents to all of these polling units. And this agent, the mobilization of this agent and their logistics cost a fortune. So let these politicians who want to go there to represent the people, if you don't have the power to mobilize funds, you have no business even being in politics in the first place. You can as well go for crowdfunding. Let the crowd fund you. As I'm speaking to you at this moment, the group of young people that I convene have been able to raise 100 million naira. None of us is in government. We comprise of students, young professionals across the country, and we've been able to raise 100 million naira for Professor Yemi Oshibajo. So this is the passion we have for this. We don't know him. I've never met him personally, but I have this passion for the growth of this country, for the development of this country. And I feel it is my own civic duty and my part, my quota in nation building, to ensure that a credible candidate emerges. And I'm playing this part on my own volition without anybody forcing me. I'm bringing out my money, and my fellow youth across this progressive youth group are bringing out their money to push for this candidate. So this is how elections are won globally. If you don't have the power to mobilize funds, please go and do something else. It's about collective effort, how we can collectively mobilize funds to push our candidate forward to win an election. Saying the party disenfranchises the youth is actually out of place, because we need to get things in their proper context. And saying it is a recipe for people to dip their hands into public coffers is entirely wrong.
All right, we'll come
Elections
to...
are community events. It is not an individual event.
We'll come to
So
that. We'll come to that in a bit. But let's stay on the issue of the youth. Victor, you've heard from Idris. Now, Idris is making a point, which is the truth, that the All Progressives Congress did say yesterday that all of its members, aspirants under the age of 40, need not pay the 100 million if you want to be president. You pay 50%. If you want to go for the governorship, you're paying half, which is 25%. If you want to go for the Senate, you're paying half, which is 10 million. If you're going for House of Reps, you pay half, which is 5 million. And if you're going for House of Assembly, you pay half, which is 1 million. And they're not taking any money from women. So women free. So what he's probably saying is that is just a way of replacing what they have lost in a way, you know.
Okay, so I'm actually not here to debate on this.
No.
But for
It's a debate whether you like it or not, because it's an issue.
I'm actually not here to debate for it, but for Idris, I know Idris knows better. He's just trying to defend his party, right? Only Idris cannot just be the right person.
No, but Idris hasn't taken his swipe at your person.
Right person,
let's not make this personal,
if you
Victor.
go on, I'm not making it personal. If you go everywhere online, majority are saying it is outrageous.
But Victor, the fact that majority are saying it's outrageous doesn't make it right. So I want you to respond to the issues that Idris has raised.
Okay.
Idris has said his party has given a 50% discount for youth, for all contestants over 40. And no party is doing that.
Sir, in APC don't have, as of today, apart from, okay, maybe it should be above 40. APC don't have any presidential candidate that is below 40.
Aspirant.
Yes.
Adamu Garba is there, the one who supported the ban on Twitter.
Above 40, or it should be 40 this year or something. I really don't know about it. But even if you give him 50%, that's 50 million.
Yeah.
Which is still the highest.
Okay.
Which is still higher than PDP. Which is still higher than even my own party. From 30 million, asks us to pay 10 million.
That's the New Nigerian.
Yeah, New Nigerian. Yes.
Okay.
So they are asking me now to pay 10 million instead of 30, right? Because we had to talk to them, and they have basic understanding that every party drive now should be based on membership. It is paining me that Idris can raise 100 million naira to give to the vice president to run for an election, when we have millions of Nigerian youths that are jobless, that don't even have food to eat. Why? That's why I said I didn't come up here for debate. But if they have
we're talking about issues here.
Sir, if they have that kind of structure, why not get that 100 million naira and look for Nigerian youth who are jobless and empower them with skill, just like what my party is doing. My campaign is kicking off with skill empowerment. I can't spend that kind of 100 million naira giving to vice president.
But you're spending 10.
Crowdfunding, sir. And our campaign is kicking off with skill empowerment for the youth and women.
Why do you have a problem with the Young Progressives group?
I have a big problem.
Contributing money to support a candidate they believe in.
Sir, with due respect.
But you're asking people to support you.
With due respect, sir. Are we not going after the wrong thing? We have youth who are jobless. You are raising money, you are giving it to a man that have embezzled a lot of money from this same country.
Victor,
you may differ because
Victor.
Yes,
Anila,
you
please,
may. Okay,
please.
That have earned. Okay.
When you say embezzled, I've checked my records and I haven't seen that the vice president has been convicted by any court for embezzling. So I think it will not be fair.
I think
if you want to say he has earned a lot of money, or he is well-to-do, because he's vice president, he gets paid well. But embezzle will not be fair.
Whatever you say, Nigerians know what is going on. Whether we come here, see, sir, I will be a stupid person if I come up here and start sounding very naive. We know the facts. Let's face it. You cannot tell me that what you see. If you want us to ask Idris to give us the statement of account, how they generated that fund, he might not see it to provide. Let's not go that route, sir.
Are you sure? We can ask him.
See, by crowdfunding that we are about to launch, every week we'll be giving updates.
We can ask him.
Idris,
are you there?
No, see, I'm trying not to make this
because it seems Victor.
No,
Victor, it
seems
you're saying that automatically any group that comes out to contribute money for any presidential candidate who is seemingly
Nigerian youth as at today,
excuse me, sir. Okay. Who is seemingly well-to-do, it automatically means that it's just a smokescreen. That he must have given them the money to just so that
Nigerian youth as at today, we not raise 100 million naira, I can bet for it.
Really?
I will not raise
For a
100 million naira.
for a politician, they believe it.
Allow me to finish my statement.
Yeah.
We not raise 100 million naira and give it to these same old incompetent politicians. They will rather support a visionary leader like myself.
All right.
If Idris had told me that money was raised to buy nomination form for him as Idris, I would have applauded that. Not to give it to the same person you are raising money for is the chairman of the Economic Council of Nigeria.
Is it taking money out from the economy?
And today,
no. So what? It's just a role.
Please, you say we need to make this more a discussion.
Yeah, I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
And the same economy that they asked him to manage is going down.
No, but
and has grown worse.
We have to understand.
And you are still raising
Victor,
100 million naira
you have
to give the same person.
We have to understand. We have to understand the role.
Audience.
We have to understand the role of the National Economic Council in the scheme of things as far as Nigeria's economy is concerned. But that will be another matter for another day. It is back to you. Victor has raised the point. What Victor is saying is simply that groups like yours that raise money for people like the vice president, probably who has an office. Victor says he has so much money and that he would like to see your group account show us where the money is coming from. And probably he says everybody knows that such things are just Nollywood scripts that are being acted out.
Well, sentiments aside, Victor being a presidential aspirant should actually learn to keep his sentiments aside and speak based on facts. And I think it will go a long way for him, considering the fact that he seeks to lead this country. Let's put things in their right perspective, please. You see, we understand that everything rises and falls on leadership. I know Victor made a statement that with 100 million, you could do a lot of youth empowerment. With a single proper policy, over millions of people's lives will be affected. And that is why we care about who lead us. We're not talking about throwing any youth just because he's a youth and on the seat of power. We're talking about people who have the capacity, who have demonstrated this capacity to lead us at this particular point in time. If I feel it is just because we want a youth at the seat of power, I would have thrown in my hat in the ring. But that is not the case. Let's have the proper people there. Let's have square pegs there, people who can do better than us, and not because we are youth. You understand? And this fund we're talking about are funds that were generated from crowdfunding, because we believe in the capacity of the vice president. Whatever Victor is saying about you want to see the company account and the rest, we can actually show him the source and everything, and none of us hold any official appointment with the government. None of us. We are individuals, students, traders, professionals across different fields coming together to donate this money because we believe in the capacity and we've been able to communicate this vision to ourselves. And we've been able to share this vision to see that the vice president is the right person to lead this country.
All right.
Gentlemen,
hold the thought, Victor. Yes.
Victor,
yes. Yeah. Hold the thought. Hold the thought. We want to go for a break. We'll come back after that break to continue. You're still watching Plus Politics on Plus TV Africa. Stay with us. Thanks for joining us right here on Plus TV and, of course, Plus TV Africa for Plus Politics. So we're still looking at the recently concluded or recently held All Progressives Congress National Executive Committee meeting and, of course, the matters arising, internal decisions taken by the All Progressives Congress as far as the 2023 elections are concerned, issues to do with the zoning formula of the party, the mode of primaries to use or to adopt, and also, of course, the cost of the expression of interest and nomination forms of that political party. And, of course, we have joining us tonight Victor Anilaju, who is a a presidential aspirant on the platform of the New Nigeria People's Party, the NNPP, and the convener of the Progressive Youth Group of the All Progressives Congress, Idris Jibril. Idris, you just told us the fact that you don't need to give youth the money simply because they're youth. You're saying it's better for your group to install or instill or support the right leader for Nigeria, so that when that leader gets into power, he or she can promulgate and implement policies that will better a lot of youth long term, rather than 100 million naira that can be finished in a day. So, Victor, what do you say to that?
So, like I will always say, we are here because of the audience. We are here because of the people. The reason why I'm on this race to become the next president of Nigeria come 2023 is to bring help to the people. It would be wrong for me to sit here and be encouraging error. You are raising 100 million naira to give to the same person that is the economic chairman of the same country that is going down economically. That doesn't add up. And let me state this so that the Nigerians will know. Buhari had good intention for this country. Fortunately, the people he hired, the people he brought into government to help him run those good intentions failed him woefully.
So you're saying that the reason Nigeria has gone down is because of the vice president?
Yes, he's part of it.
Okay,
He's
okay. More because of the vice president than President Buhari?
I could tell you that, yes, 100%.
More about the vice president.
Yes.
Even the economy is more about the vice president than President Buhari.
You are the chairman. And I will always say, and people come here and tell me excuses that he is not the president. Sir, if you hire me to do your job and you are not allowing me to do your job, what will I do? I will retire. I will resign. And I've always said this time after time. If people should stop giving flimsy excuses for the vice president. If you are asked to do your job, you can't hire me to do a job. And I want to do it, you are not giving me that liberty. To prove to you that I can do it, I will tender my letter of resignation and I will leave you alone so that you can face it. You can't be in a sinking boat and after the boat have sank, you are coming to give excuse because I am not
but back to Idris Jibril.
No, see, this is what I'm going to.
Right.
This is what I'm going to. I only said that just for him to understand that, see, we are speaking to over 100 million Nigerians and they are listening to us. I'm trying not to make this a debate because Idris is of the same generation like myself, right? So that's why I'm just trying to be mindful. But I want to let Idris to understand that Nigerians are watching, especially our fellow young Nigerians. I'm sorry to say, a majority of them will be disappointed at some things that you are saying right now. You forget about party, forget about politics.
Let's get back to this. So Idris, I'll give you a chance to respond to this before we move on to the next issue.
You see, the problem with most people seeking political positions today is they don't really even understand what they seek or the country they seek to lead. I listened carefully to my fellow youth and a presidential aspirant talking about instead of seeking a good leadership for this country, we should take the money and give to youth as youth empowerment. And I weep because giving this money to youth doesn't know what a good leader meant to this country, doesn't really understand what a good leader could do for this country. And we are seeking to have that in place. Instead of just using this money to give to you, we prefer to use this money to have good leadership across board in the party. Do you understand? So talking about things, let's really get this and keep sentiment out of sight. Let's keep sentiment from this. This is an election period in this country. So throwing allegation left, right, and center isn't going to help us. That's why you see most of this new party coming up do not really make headway because they don't really understand the perspective of things. When they speak out of sentiment and talk about, look, let's get this right, please. There is nowhere in the world where elections, in a democratic process, where elections are conducted and people don't do crowd funding. So crowdfunding is part of the way to generate funds for us. And we are adopting this procedure because we believe as youth of this country we have more at stake on who leads this country. I don't want to join issue with my fellow brother here.
Okay, so let's look at the point that Victor raised, which is that I think, Victor, you said that no youth in Nigeria who is earning legitimate money will be able to sink even 50 million naira or raise 50 million naira to contest for the presidential
to get nomination forms. And you should know that nomination form is the least least expenses you make when it comes to election, because there you have to make yourself available for inter-party campaign, which will lead to primaries, which you have to spend so much.
But you're saying that no young person will be ready to spend all these monies?
What I'm saying here is that if you spend 50 million, for example, now to get the form, how much are you going to spend to campaign for making sure that the delegates they are going to vote for you?
All right.
How much are you going to spend?
So you're saying that no young person is going to want to spend 50 million to get the forms?
That the money he or she make to get the primaries, I doubt.
Okay, so is this what you find? I mean, you're also a young Nigerian and this deeply in politics, Idris, that it will be impossible for any young Nigerian politician to raise that 50 million just for the forms, the nomination expression of interest forms.
You see, I don't think Victor lives in this country and understand how things work here. The fact is that if Victor lives in this country, he will see how people lavish money in clubs, in hotels, on social media, and there are a lot of donations and giveaway. People give 50 million like it is 50 naira today. And these are happening all over. It's happening here and there, and it's being carried out by youth, not the adults, not the older generation. It's being carried out by youth. So this money, if this youth will put this money in the proper place, to ensure that we have good leadership in this country, a lot of things will change. Instead of using this money...
So are you saying that young Nigerians can afford this 50 million naira easily?
Definitely young Nigerians can afford 50 million naira and beyond.
Sir,
a lot of young
let's
people
get this fact straight, sir.
Making a lot of money.
Please, Idris, let's get this fact straight.
Yes, there are a lot of young people today making a lot of
money.
Getting
50 million naira, it's not the problem. The issue here is putting that 50 million naira for a nomination form. That is the problem. And even for me, I'm not going to advise a young Nigerian. I'm not talking about somebody, a former governor, a former senator. No, I'm talking about a young Nigerian that have worked very hard to spend his or her hard-earned 50 million naira to get a nomination form. And I want us to talk beyond this nomination form thing. At least Nigerians know that this is outrageous, right? Because what we are looking at here, we're not looking at just getting a nomination form. We're looking at a candidate that will be able to deliver to the people security, that will be able to deliver to the people jobs, that will be able to deliver to the people.
But he's saying that 50 million is not much money for a lot of young people in Nigeria. And he made a point, which is interesting.
Sir,
no, Idris made a point.
Fintech. Wait.
Idris made a point, yes, which is very interesting.
Yes, but before you make that point,
50 million. Houses in Lekki cost 700 million,
sir,
Victor. Houses in Lekki cost 200 million.
Yes.
300, 500 million.
Nigeria,
young people are buying these houses.
Sir, Nigeria as we speak, I can spend my hard-earned money to buy a house because it will appreciate in price. But your nomination form does not appreciate. Let's not go into there. Idris, I'm shocked at Idris right now because he fails to understand that there are millions of young Nigerians looking at him. Let me tell you.
Okay, hold on. He wants to respond. I'll come back to you. Yeah, Idris, you can start your point again.
Elections are not bankrolled by the candidates alone. Elections are a community effort. All members of the party come together to ensure that they deliver their candidates. So everybody pool their resources together to run this process. So Victor should stop thinking that the candidate who raised the 100 million naira will be the one to raise money for every process. There are people that will come in, I am providing a vehicle for your logistics. There are people that will come in, I am providing communication resources to you. There are people that will come in, I'm providing one or two things that you need for this campaign period. So Victor should not get it that the single person who raised this money for the nomination form will also be the one to bankroll the electioneering process. That is not how it works. It is a community effort. All members of the party put their resources together.
What do you say to that?
Once a candidate has
The truth about it is there is two basic issues here that I want us to address, and that's where I'm finding difficult to respond to.
No, because he is saying that it is a community effort.
Yes,
it's not a one-man business.
I will get into there. Yeah. That is after the primaries. That is after the primaries. The primaries need you and your team to work yourself out to get into the primaries, and after that time, you can now get the party to support you, right? But what we are saying here is two things that Idris have said that I'm not in line with. You cannot tell me the young people, you even mentioned students. Nigerian students at home. That's why I don't want to discuss that length. To say Idris is telling us that the same students who are at home are the ones who contributed money for them to give to the vice president to buy nomination form is out of place.
Idris, what do you say to that? Idris,
do you understand what I'm saying?
I mean,
the student that's at home, you are asking
Idris,
them
before I move on to my
money.
next point, can you quickly respond to that? I mean, students at home.
Excuse me, Mr. Victor. Excuse me.
I'm not here to debate.
Thank you, Victor.
Please.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Victor. You see, when we say students donating this, our crowdfunding, some of them donated as little as 100 naira to this process. These are people who believe in the candidate we are selling to them. And if we say students, because students are at home, they want a change. They don't want to stay at home anymore. They are looking for somebody who has a solution to they are not staying at home.
Is in the government now. He should do the change right now. He should do the change. If the vice president is listening to me, Mr. Vice President, Professor Osibajo, you are a professor. You are a lecturer. Please take Nigerian students back to school.
So it's all down
buy
to
your nomination form.
So Victor,
take them back to school.
What you're saying is that the vice president is solely responsible for the ASU strike.
When you ask me that question,
because I mean, Idris said that that you might not really understand the workings of government in Nigeria.
It's Idris that don't have an idea.
Are you expecting the vice president to be the one to bring an end to the ASU strike?
The vice president can call the Minister of Education and call the ASU executive together for an indoor meeting.
When the president has not approved or asked him to do that.
When the president has not asked him to do that.
Yeah.
The president has the use to raise money for you.
The issue of ASU
is not sir, please,
but I think
gentlemen, let's have one house. Let's have one house, please. There is I'm just going to ask our producers to please display this on this tweet by Adetunji Adeniro, who calls himself AA. And he has come up with another kind of analysis of this 100 million naira. He says he did a simple analysis. Clearly, the ruling class, he says, don't think in naira terms. And if you can see from his analysis, this is the cheapest the APC presidential form has ever cost since the party came up in 2014-2015. You can see from his calculations, and you can follow him at King Adetunji if you want, _ if you want to just read that personally and maybe save it. He's saying that in 2015, if you do the maths, the APC presidential form forms cost $270,000. In 2019, they cost $226,000. In 2023, their cost is costing $171,000, about $99,000 less than it cost in the last elections. So maybe it's a case of we not really upgrading our naira and kobo sense to know that 100 million naira today really doesn't amount to as much as it used to amount to.
We are in Nigeria. We are not in US. And to even bring up that, you are even showing to the world how Nigerian currency have been devalued, have depreciated under the same person that you are God, I've not heard this before. You are raising money for the vice president of the country from the same students that
we moved on from the vice president.
Do you understand?
No. I mean, to be on the 100 million naira.
Back to
the 100 million. What this guy is saying is that it actually, in real terms, costs less. That's what he's saying. That is what
you are showing us,
Adeniran is saying. Is that it costs less.
No, what he's saying.
This is the cheapest it's ever been.
No, it's the cheapest because our naira have been devalued.
That's not in doubt. But is it? So you are agreeing it's the cheapest?
It's not the cheapest.
No, but you just said it's the cheapest because naira has been devalued.
It's not the cheapest.
But look at it. It's $171,000.
In dollars, we are in Nigeria. We're not in the US.
But the oil you buy is you buy priced in US dollars, so you pay in naira. The crude oil, the petrol you buy is in USD.
That is another shame to the vice president.
Even your naira is
that is another
it goes up
shame,
or goes down.
That is another shame.
No, we moved on from the vice president. We're talking about the cost of the form.
We're talking about the cost of the form, and we're indirectly looking at what Idris said. That Nigerian youth.
No. We moved on from that. I'm saying that Adeniran on Twitter says that the APC presidential form, from his analysis, and please can you show down the screen, costs less in 2023 than it did in 2019 and 2015. You know, more than $100, about $99,000 less.
We are Nigerians, sir. Let's talk this figure.
But do you agree that is the fact?
In naira, it is higher. In naira, it is higher. Right?
Really? Because you have depreciation.
Our people, sir.
That you would have to.
Let us educate our people. See, sir, I'm in this political space. Politicians will do everything to change the narrative.
But
when it comes to
this is not a narrative. This is the fact. It's there.
That is not the
info.
Fact.
You can go online.
Sir,
no,
that is not.
What is the naira to dollar today? Okay, let's allow Idris come in.
That is not the fact.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think this discussion has been clouded by too many emotions and trying to drag the name and character of the vice president into the gutter. And I think I'm not going to toe that part with Mr. Victor.
Yeah, but we've moved on from that now. We moved on from that. No, Victor, please.
Adetunde Adeniran for thinking globally. As much as we actually admit that, yes, the Naira has lost its value, but this analysis is apt. It is correct. It is accurate when you are thinking globally. And come to think of it, no party's nomination form has remained the same from 1999 till date. So the party nomination form keeps increasing, and this has been the value of things across. I don't think Mr. Victor here will want to sell a land he bought.
It seems we have a bit of an issue with the connection to Idris. Are you there, Idris Jibril? Okay, we've lost him. Victor, before you go, why do you think some people are asking, that, I mean, candidates like yourself, other Nigerian politicians who are young, and even the young people of the country who are screaming about the 100 million naira. I mean, there's 17 other political parties that are available for people who have a problem with this to go and join. Now, you yourself, you've taken a decision that will mean that you don't have to go take ibuprofen tomorrow, which is you are in NNPP that says instead of 30 million, bring
10 million.
So why do you want to give yourself an additional headache? This is how they want to do their things in APC. So you have chosen your path. Shouldn't other people also look for where they can go and have peace of mind?
Sir,
and allow them do the things the way it is their party.
Sir, it's the pressure that they put into the political system. Even if I am in NNPP right now, New Nigerian People's Party.
So why you? It's like being an Arsenal fan and then you are worried about Manchester United.
See, I am worried because it doesn't show that the people leading us as at today are sincere to the problem that we are facing as a people. And we are still worried that because we have young people in APC, like myself, that would love to run for the office of the president.
All right, we have to go. Victor Anilaju is a presidential aspirant of the New Nigeria People's Party, the NNPP. And of course, we've also been joined today by the convener of the Progressive Youth Group in the All Progressives Congress, Idris Jibril. Jibril and Victor Anilaju, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Idris, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Victor. I hope to see you someday.
Yes, we'll hope to have you guys again. And that's the much you can take on the program. That's the size of our show. My name is Kofi Bartels. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamode Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamode Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 when they pay.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Seize it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thoughts and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
How can we have peace without justice?
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Usayua Mesale. And today we have a full house, finally. First of all, it's happy to be, I'm glad to be back. All those people calling, where is Uwa? Uwa is here. So I have with me my good friend, Bolaji Badamosi, our yellow papa in the building. Bolaji, thank you so much for thank you for joining us.
She knows I don't like TV.
I know you don't like TV, but we had to drag you here.
She really did.
How are you? She's the, in case you do not know, you see Child Body Safety online, the CEO of Child Body Safety. She's the CEO. Thank you so much. I had to drag her into the show so we could have a robust conversation. Thank you, Bolaji, for joining us.
Thank you.
How are you doing? How's your day?
I'm very good.
You look a bit tired, though.
Yes, because I've been running from conference to exams on this child protection
matter.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I, working on bettering myself. So it's been from one conference to exam to master classes, but it's been fun. So when I got the message this morning, I was like, oh God, I just wanted to sleep. And she knows I don't like TV, you know. I always want to be behind the scene and all of that. But I'm just that one person that never likes to be at the forefront. I just want to walk at the back. Oh, what's going on? Okay, I'll sort it out. And, you know.
I know. But thank you for making an exception for us. Thank you. It's not easy. You know, when people see this child matter, they think it's a small business. But you spend a lot of money, a lot of time and dedication learning about the behaviors of children and how we can continue to improve on protecting them. So kudos to you. It's not an easy thing. Some of us just have to make math and make it. Let me come to Jennifer. She's joined us on, hey, finally, praise the Lord. Since Abuja has refused to release you, we will start doing Zoom. Jennifer, how are you? Can we hear Jennifer? Oh, sugar, we can't hear. But Jennifer has joined us via Zoom, so we'll come back to her. Issy, how are you doing? I love your outfit. By the way, both of you did not give me the memo. I'd have worn my own magazine.
It has to be silk and magazine.
How are you, Issy?
I'm very well.
How's your day?
Hectic, but we're
school is about to resume.
Don't even go there.
Take a chill pill for now. I just need that break, my alone time. And I've been also doing a few things here and there and working on my TFL courses. And, you know, it's been hectic, but at the same time, it's good. We're on it.
Okay, so I was doing mommy duties. All right, so today we're discussing, so it's, you know how some people would say no smartphones till their university level. Some people say no social media. Everybody just has different rules to parenting, right? And it was important for us to have this conversation where we talk about, you know, we are in a digital age. A lot of children that are born today, they're digital natives. They don't know any other life. They don't know what we knew when we were growing up. So it's important that we have the conversation as to how we could actually learn to parent in this digital world. That's the conversation for today. And here's what we found as today's quote. Parents can only give good advice or put them on the right path, but the final forming of a person's character lies in their own hands. I really love this quote because no matter what you do, after all said and done, right, that child, you know, still has the onus. I always put that responsibility back at my children. You must learn to take responsibility for your life. And that's why I love that quote and I chose it. So in recent times, we've heard uncomfortable stories of underage kids exhibiting behaviors that can only be influenced by their exposure to uncensored content on the internet and social media. So from the 10-year-old girl that we all saw, student of Chrisland School, whose sex tape was distributed on social media and later discovered to have had a page on Likey with questionable videos, to Annie Dibia's backlash, or the backlash she got on exposing her daughter's cleavage, right? On a photo, they said the daughter was inappropriate in her clothing. Somebody called her out. You know, the stories are endless. We have so many stories on social media, to children dancing, erratically, or at birthday parties. It's endless, right? Those conversations are endless. And so that's why we're having this conversation on our Ladies' Night Out. And EC, Jennifer, Bolaji as well, and I are discussing how should parents raise children in this digital world. And when we open our phone lines, we really love to hear what you have to say about this. But first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 dey pay.
All right, you're still watching Ways. World Creativity and Innovation Day is celebrated on April 21 every year. The day aims to raise awareness about the importance of creativity and innovation in problem solving and encourage creative multidisciplinary thinking at the individual and group levels. The World Creativity and Innovation Week is also observed from the 15th of April to the 21st of April. The theme of World Creativity and Innovation Day 2022 is collaboration, and it was founded on the 25th of May in 2001 in Toronto, Canada. The founder of the day was the Canadian Mercy Segal. Segal was studying creativity in 1977 at the International Center for Studies in Creativity. The United Nations on 27th of April resolved to include World Creativity and Innovation Day on the 21st of April as a day of observance to raise awareness among people about the use of their creativity in problem solving for all issues that may be related to achieving the 2015 Sustainable Development Goals. So, International Creativity and Innovation Day. I love this day.
What will our world be like without innovation
and creativity? Nothing. Now, the matter what they talk now with that now. That's why there's social media, there's all these things.
I know, there's a lot of innovation, and this is just the beginning.
Absolutely. You know? We have not even scratched the surface as to the kinds of, I can't wait for when I am, say, 60, and I'll see the kind of technology that will
maybe
be coming.
Maybe we won't have a car.
I'm telling you.
Maybe we'll just be flying cars.
I'm looking forward to the type of cars that will be.
I know. Like I've been thinking about that.
Absolutely. So can Jennifer hear me now? Yeah. We're still having trouble trying to connect with Jennifer. But let me take your story, Isi.
Okay. My story. Well, my story is a heartbreaking one, and it is a sad one because we have the headline how our officer was knocked down, killed by hit and run driver in Ajah last month. And the Lagos State Transport Management Authority, LASMA, has explained how one of its officers, Mr. Jamil Issa, was killed by a hit and run vehicle in the Ajah metropolis, basically. And this is a sad, sad one because the young man went to work and only for him to be knocked down by a vehicle that was coming from the opposite direction. And when he accosted the vehicle or the driver to actually get the and ask him why he's doing what he did, instead of him to come down, alight from the vehicle, which was he was actually pretending to alight from the vehicle, he insisted that he changed his mind, went back into the vehicle and rammed into the last man. And on the way to the hospital, probably he died because at arrival at the hospital, he was proclaimed dead. Now, this is not the first time that we've had issues or instances like this occur, because we've had, even right before my presence, I think it was at somewhere around Awoyaya axis, where we had a vehicle that rammed into a pole, and the LASMA official was almost killed in the process. So I don't know what is happening, what is going on with the kind of drivers we have on the road currently, but a lot of people need to be called to question.
So I was listening in on the radio. Interestingly, they were talking about this. What's her name? Sandra Ezekwesili. I like to listen to her all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it was quite. So it's two-sided stories, because I mean, she brought out the argument that on one hand, we as commuters, we are always fighting LASMA. At that point, they are also fighting us. So how do we ensure that we are safe, LASMA is also safe?
Yeah.
And a lot of people called in, particularly to this situation, that it would have been an easy thing. Just take the number plate, you understand, of the vehicle. It was needless. This death was actually needless. You didn't have to jump in front of a mad person. Yeah. You know that some people are mad. So currently, I think it's a green Sienna bus. They mentioned, I can't remember the number plate now.
Vehicle, yes.
It's a Sienna bus. It's a green Sienna bus. A lot of people, so they put out the number plate out there for people to help be on the lookout. It had a FESTA, because it was FST something. I can't remember the full number for the plate. But the truth is, whatever it is, the situation, the death has already occurred.
Absolutely.
So whilst we are, trying to track down this killer, let's also remember that, first of all, it's blood you have running through your veins. Do not jump in front of a moving vehicle. They will not do that in front. They will not jump in front of a downfall bus. They will not jump in front of a trailer. They always try that with commuters because they feel like we are supposed to be level-headed. But you have seen that we still have some mad people that are like you and I, that are driving non-commercial vehicles.
Yes.
So, I mean, the best thing you can do is to safeguard your life.
So would you champion the fact that, it was actually proposed recently that the LASMA officials should be given guns?
No, you're even making it worse.
No, I'm just saying, you propose that?
There's no need for that. I'm just saying that when you see a traffic offense as a LASMA officer, you already have all those gadgets. You have your cameras, you have your body cam, you have everything. Just do a full report and file it in. Let me tell you, there is no way that car wants to renew, give or take. And guess what? You can be counting the whatever, right? There is no way you will not, if you want to catch him, maybe roadworthiness renewal, or you want to catch them at insurance renewal, whatever it is, there will be some place where they would be able to, where the rubber will meet the road to nab the person. You don't have to jump in front of people.
I think just looking at what Issy has on, with the book she has on the magic of emotional intelligence.
Yes.
You know, I know they go through a lot of trainings, but at the same time, we have people with all kind of emotions coming through them as they wake up, and I believe LASMA still have a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
There were times they were doing the job, and I want to even give them money when I see them, not because I have a lot, but because they are so, they do the work like, effortlessly sometimes, and it's crazy. We all know this job is crazy, but I think they need to keep retraining them on emotional intelligence. And sometimes you see the most dedicated one not on the road, and you see maybe semi-illiterate or semi-educated ones on the road. So I think they need to keep training these guys. They need to spend more money. There is no one you train and retrain. There's repetition in there is knowledge in repetition that you train and train again. But one thing I've noticed is that maybe they probably train them and just register them as they have been trained, and that is I believe in
a lot of repetition.
There's a lot of more
so
work.
What you're proposing is there should be reinforcement in
training.
What they've already been taught.
All right, so let me quickly take my story because we ran out of time. A magistrate court sitting in Akure, the Ondo state capital, has sentenced a Chinaza Njoku, she's 35, I believe, to 6 years imprisonment for stealing palm oil. Or more.
Did you just say?
This palm oil is 25 liters of palm oil. I took this story because I'm a palm oil farmer. It's 25 liters of palm oil, and it's the cost, according to what they wrote here, is about 20,000 naira. You understand? So he's the guy, he was charged for a 2 counts of stealing and felony. So now he's going to go to jail for 6 years imprisonment. Like, I don't understand. Where is this judge when they are stealing billions of naira in Nigeria? Like, it makes no sense. I just thought to mention that. I loved Jennifer's story. Honestly, I wanted us to take it. But now that we cannot get Jennifer.
Okay.
Our first lady wants to host presidential aspirants to a dinner.
And said they shouldn't come with phones.
They said you should not come with phones. I said, first lady. Politicians that don't trust themselves. But on that note, to take a break, hopefully we can reconnect with Jennifer. We're having troubles with her audio. But we'll come back from the break. When we come back from the break, we'll be discussing right parenting in this digital world. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
All right, thanks for staying with us. We are currently living in the next generation, the internet being in the heart of it. The internet has become very widespread and available, with almost 1/3 of the world's 6.8 billion people using it every day. Now, each parent has beliefs and personal opinions regarding the usage of technology and the social media by their children, now, such as their usefulness or damage, or the age at which children should use them. And we've had numerous cases of backlashes targeted at celebrities and people in the public eye on allowing their children on social media at a very tender age. And the world is moving really fast, and we are living in a world of technology that can't be ignored. But how do we as parents find a balance to raise and protect our children in the digital world, right? That's the conversation today. We want to learn parenting while we are here in this digital age. Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at Wayshow Africa1 with the hashtag Wayshow. All right, so I was gonna say that it would be nice. Okay, let me start with biology, because it would be nice for us to have a bit of a background. You know, why safety is important for children. The arguments, again, this is coming off of the back of the Chrisland incident that just happened recently, but we've had cases. I mean, was it you that shared that horrific story I read, where a woman arrested a young man because he was sodomizing both sons? You're the one that shared that story. Yeah, she shared the story first. Yeah. I read that story and I was completely disgusted, because, first of all, I have only boys. I don't have girls, so I don't even understand why somebody would do that to my child. But thank God for technology, because what I read in that story was that she was able to take pictures, and it is based on those pictures and everything that she took the boy and arrested him, you know, and he's now in police custody. All right, so I was going to say that how do we manage expectations? On one hand, parents would say that the likes of this young girl, the Chrisland student, I don't know her name now, that has an Instagram page and all of that, is already a complete failure on the part of the parent. Why would a child of that age be on social media? She's just 10. On another hand, there are so many children doing so many productive things on social media. Secondly, they'll say, no, do not give a child a phone and all of that. But you argue again and say that communication is very key at this point in time, especially for busy parents where you have to go out. So you need to be able to at least communicate with your children while you're out. Then this argument of the kind of clothes children wear, the thing is endless, right? So maybe if you were to, you know, first of all, give like a background as to how all of these things recently happening in the news, how your summations are for it. Maybe what would that be? Then we can now come to the style of parenting.
I think if we want to look at the word parenting by itself, it's child rearing. You understand? And people don't understand that. People need to understand that rearing of anything needs skills. And that's where parenting and intentional parenting is different. Parenting is what a lot of people are doing, and everybody is trying to do their best. But people keep forgetting that when you're rearing something, the emotional stability is involved, the physical strength too is involved, their growth.
The right diet.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things involved. And it's a skill that is needed to rear something. You can't have, like people studying animal husbandry, you know, and you want to start a cattle business. You just don't put a cattle on the field. You're rearing the cattle from the small thing to where it's going to be. You know, so parents need to understand that there's a skill needed for parenting. You have to have a skill to actually build up your child. And that's where the intentions comes in. An intention in my own quote is, let me tell you something, when we are having children's program, you hardly see parents turn up willingly. And there's a program that their child are going to have.
It'll be very beneficial to their child.
Beneficial. And I don't think, if you know the person you're dealing with as a tutor or educator, you should be able to, because I know parents need to trust you before putting their child in your care, you know. But I don't see them doing that for a lot of schools. That's even by the way, I don't want to digress. I just want to center it around child rearing. And that is what parenting. If you want to rear anything, you will learn about it. You will learn the skill it takes for that thing to be successful. If you don't learn the skill, you're into farming. So assume that you have cattle on the farm. You need to know what they will eat at the right time to give them the... So you have to read about it. So a lot of parents doesn't understand that. It's not about, oh, have you read that for you to teach her that? If the intention, did you want to go to the internet? How do I do this for my child? How do I do this in this? How many parents do that? I'm not saying a parent don't do that, but how many people are that intentional in the rearing of their kids? And you know, looking at it, looking at everything that is happening now, they have sexualized children a lot. And social media and internet is not helping. You ask a child, what do you want to do? You'll probably tell you, I want to be an influencer. I'm not saying those things are not good. I'm not saying that. But they're seeing the way people are making their money. And they're weighing it to the fact that, have you seen quite a number of children that tell you that they don't want to go to school? Anymore. Because they're looking at someone telling you to your face, like saying that, oh, I work maybe 30 days a week, 30 days a month, and I earn 40,000. But if I go out one night, I can earn this 40,000. So you're selling things into the mind of the kids, and you're making them understand that dancing, being sexualized in front of camera can pay you something. And the kids are willing, like, oh, mommy, I can do this and I can make money. Sometimes in our heart, you're like, okay, you have the heart to do this and you're making money. And we're not putting check and balances to some of these things.
So Bolaji, I was going to ask that. So are we saying that for children, because we're talking innovation and creativity, today is World Innovation and Creativity Day. For children that have those really special gifts that you know deep down inside of them that they are gifted, you know, for maybe dance, right? Are you saying that it is, we should completely take them off that social media space? Or how should we go about it?
That's what I'm talking to you. That's what I'm saying about rearing. Your child wants to do dancing. And you know that there's a wolf out there about to, you know, devour your child. But you don't know how he's going to come in. You don't know what way he's going to come in. You don't know the method this thing is going to use. I believe that you need to be intentional. And that's why I keep talking about this intentional parenting. Okay, what have you outlined? What major problem is on ground that is surrounding that dance occupation or that dance, and the passion called dance? You know, parents need to, there's a passion. There's a problem around that passion. What is the problem? What is the solution? People that have been there before, what have they done? We've seen parents rear their kids beautifully, and they're successful, they're doing very well. And they're dancers What did they do differently?
What did they do differently?
What did they get right?
Nurtured?
How were they nurtured? What are the things that need to put in place? And that is what it means by being intentional. So you're putting a lot of things around that child that I know, even though you might make mistakes, it's not going to be a deadly one. Children are allowed to make mistakes. And that's why this case of this Chrisland child, they don't understand that they've made that child's life better. What of you as a parent that do not know your child at all, that do not know what your child is hiding from you? Let me tell you the case about that child. They don't understand that that child might end up being a president of the country or being a commissioner because they've seen where her problem is. Now a parent, unfortunately, it became a mistake before they became intentional. Do you understand? So now the parent knows that there's a mistake. They have done something wrong. It's out there. Fine. But do you think the child will be the same? The child will go through therapy.
But are you sure the parents are
No, they will.
No.
Hey,
that mother that I watched, I feel like taking koboko.
No, don't say that.
Don't go there.
No, don't go there. No, because I am of this school of thought that there is no one rule to parenting.
Yes.
We just have to be intentional. And I always tell you that I might think I'm doing the right thing, but let me tell you, is whose child becomes successful in future, they ended up doing the right thing. Do you understand? There are different ways to which parenting can come. And I will tell you, if you believe, some people believe in not beating their child. You know, some people believe in beating. But are you beating to the extent that the child is turning something else, or you're beating to correct? Correct means you said you did this wrong. That was why I did this. You know, there's a rule to everything. And I'm not going to tell you, do your parenting this way. I'm not going to tell that mother, you didn't do right. Absolutely. You understand? I'm not in a position to do that. I'm not in a house. I don't live with them. This child might be one of the best child this woman has raised, but might not know that she has mixed up with the wrong one in school. And these children hide a lot of things. So the mother might not even know she's not doing the right thing. But now that the case is out, she's more intentional than you and I.
Yeah, so it's an opportunity to correct. Okay, so let me hear Isi's thoughts.
Well, where do I come from? This, you've practically dissected the whole concept of parental rearing your children. But the key thing I want to, go back to is, how did our parents do it? How?
They didn't do it right.
They didn't do nothing. Don't even go there.
They didn't do it right.
Wait.
They didn't do it right.
How did they do it? How did they rear the children that are currently what we have
Do you
today?
think you and I are in a better place?
I'm going somewhere.
Sorry, darling.
My darling, you hit it well. So we they do like say we are okay. Are we okay?
I am okay. But the key thing is this. How did they do it? They didn't have any manual. They didn't have any, they couldn't go to the internet. They were able to, some parents, or a lot of parents at the time were intentional because they had some sort of interaction with their children. So, like you said, being intentional is about you going the extra mile to get to know your child.
Bless you, are redeeming yourself small. Because you know why I'm saying that? You see, so it's just like, I'll come back to you. It's just like what Uti would always say about what's it called, security, that we have a false sense of security in this country. We think we are safe. But let something happen. A lot of our generations who are raising the current crop of children, was it not, you were not in the makeup room when somebody was saying it, that it is our generation, our aunties that are raising this current generations, right? So look at this. So who raised them? Who raised them? So you can't say that our parents got it right. They didn't get it right.
They got some aspects right.
Like what?
They got some aspects right.
Wait, so Isi, let me tell you something.
There's a fear. There's fear. There's fear of it might. No, that one works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying it doesn't work. See, a lot of us has missed opportunity because we were not things that we know now. We were not put through it. You know, some things that have happened in our life is based on our background or our, and what is background? It's our family. It's where we came from. And a lot of the problem that a lot of us have today is basically our background that's given us
the baggage.
the background that we have today. So I'm not saying that our parents didn't do, but we some of us were Christians, so we had that godly life, Christian values.
Can I even say, Bolaji, I think our parents, when they say you play kalu, it was trial and error. Do you understand? Some people got it, some people missed it.
Yes.
It was not like they had, that they didn't get anything right. They were just trying.
Yeah.
Some just turned out right. That is it. But there was no intentionality.
And there was a God value.
Do you understand?
God value.
Of course there was a God value.
Yeah,
but you see the thing about this saying that says nothing is new under the sun. Yes. Right? So everything that is happening today is not new. The only difference is this technology that we are seeing now.
Yes.
Because that is what exposes so many things that normally would have existed. I have so many stories to share, but you know what? Let's take a very quick break because we'd like to open our phone lines. When we come back from the break, we open our phone lines. I would love to hear your thoughts as well. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, so if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we're discussing how should parents raise children in this digital age. You see, we're coming for you now. Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8463. You can also tweet at us at WayShow1 with the hashtag WayShow. So I sat down. I'm not supposed to be saying this on national television. And I was analyzing how the kinds of games we used to play as children, every and every, that we do. But you see, the only difference right now is that you can be playing that same game and somebody is carrying a smartphone and recording it. That was what was happening in that bedroom. Somebody was at the corner there recording.
They are doing Mama and Papa or something.
You understand? That's something we did not do. Is it from threesome to what's it called? Lesbianism? There is nothing. Do you understand? That's why I'm saying that the fact that we turned out right does not mean that some of these things we did not experiment with it. Right?
At what age?
So wait. So the only difference, when we were growing up, TV would start at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
We didn't have any benchmark to see how it's done. I remember the first time I saw how to make love on Google. I almost imploded. I was going to die that day. But guess what? The children that we have today, right? Any spark of curiosity, right? They would just go on Google.
Absolutely.
And they would search and they would get answers.
Absolutely.
So how should we start to approach? Because what I started doing with my kids, because again, I cannot say I would not give my child a smartphone. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those parents. But what I would do is to teach you how to be responsible
with it
when using a smartphone.
Absolutely.
So all this one that you're saying that, no, a child under this age should not get this education, it's not done that way. So I had a nanny one time, and the nanny used to lie a lot. And every time I come to the house, I'm entering the living room, she flips the channel. Do you know what made me sack her? I said I do not want a situation where my children, I'll be coming down, they hear my footsteps, they'll flip the channel.
Yeah.
It means that whatever it was that they were watching, mommy is not supposed to be aware that they are watching it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So as little as those things and taking responsibility and owning their lives, I put their lives. You see, that's why I love that quote. My children, they know. I say, if you do, it's for you. If you don't do, it is for you.
Absolutely.
You have to be the one to make that choice, because if it comes from you, so a lot of parents, I don't see, our parents instilled fear.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of things because, and that was why, remember Bolaji, our generation was the one that they will have a different attire for when they are at home. When they're at university, it's completely opposite. Madam will be wearing long skirts when she's at home. But when she's in the university, she's wearing bomb
Yeah,
shorts.
it's
So would you call that they got it right? They didn't get it right.
They didn't get it.
They were just creating sets of hypocrites, you know, sets of hooligans,
Cowards.
you know, sets of cowards, right? That could not say this is who I am and own it.
And it's
You know,
it's
I would say this. I wasn't exposed to such children, basically. So I would say they got mine right. But however, I would look at it from another perspective, which is the fact that...
Were you a Christian? Were your parents into religion?
Yes. No. My parents weren't into religion, but they weren't pagans either.
The key thing is, that's why I keep talking about values. What are the moral values that the child has been given?
Yeah.
So it's based on what you said, based on the values you give to that child. At the end of the day, that child is the one that is going to own it. So if you like, you expose the child to internet. You expose the child to whatever sex education you want to expose the child to. If the child wants to experiment things without you actually, you know, getting, I keep saying it, I buy your emotions. Once I get your emotions, that is the ultimate. If you are a father or a mother and you do not bond with your child, you do not instill certain values into that child, at the end of the day, the child wants to do something in the future. The child will always go back and think about,
how would this let me add something to that.
If I do this, how would this affect mom or affect dad?
Yeah.
And I think that steers you away from fear.
Let me
respect.
Yes, that is part of the values, family values.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something about this age. It's not as if parents are not doing what they're supposed to do, and I'm not going to vouch for every parent, but everyone that I know, I know what they do with their kids. I know what length they go for their kids. But we keep forgetting that our kids meet other children that either their parents don't have the time, their parents simply thinks they're doing the best, but it's not the best for the child. And our children go there. I know that values are important because that value is what you're trying to explain. And everybody's holding on to that. If we didn't have a good family value, I don't think we'll be where we are today. But what I want to add to what you're saying in this age is for parents to start giving examples of things happening. You're sending your child, you know, telling her this is the way, be good, be this, you remember the home you're coming from, we don't do this. But you know, the thing is, in this age that we know better now as a parent, we need to start giving an example. When you get to school, when you see them do threesome, let them understand that this is going on. It's not about values.
Thank you.
That's
so you know what you say. If I touch your breast, you go carry the leg. I say that the child will Google it. If somebody touches my breast, will I get pregnant?
It still comes to the character you have instilled in
I know.
that
I'm
child.
not taking that away.
She's
from
not taking it away.
But
you have to be very realistic with the reality.
Absolutely.
This is the thing that parents didn't tell us. They rather tell us what. But now it's a new age. It's a new time. So you are
be as blunt
as open
as
possible.
Be blunt.
You know, and tell them that when you get to that hostel, when you see a threesome or you are even hearing about, because some of these children probably sleeping and they're hearing sounds and they're wondering what's going on, and so let me tell you what happened in school. The curiosity is making a lot of children. Why did you check pornography? Mommy, I heard it in school and I didn't know the meaning of it.
Absolutely.
And are you telling me that child doesn't have good family values? But if you had explained, I am telling you, family values now has to come with extras.
Thank you.
Has to come with examples.
I totally agree with you on
has
that.
to come with examples.
I totally
and
agree
we should
with
not
you on
forget that example has to be realistic example. Let them know there's threesome. Let them know that there's boy on boy and sex. Let them know what happened to this girl happens when children are helpless. You understand? Because I don't see reason why the school, it happened under the school, and that's where my problem is.
That's my problem as well.
They could have curtailed the video within the hour. So how did you allow that video?
How did it get out?
Let's even assume that the children, they are still children. Let's assume that it took 1 hour before you realize what happened. You could still curtail a lot of things within that 1 hour. But you left it for a month.
Negligence.
What was the team that was put together Was the hotel involved in the team of people that were discussing, that were involved? Because they would bring another children in and the same might happen again. So for me, it's more than parents just giving out the family value. It's the background now. But we have to bring in the physical, realistic example. So when they encounter these problems, when they see it, they know is either you tell me, no, what you just did is wrong. Yeah, what is wrong about it? And let me tell you something about this kid. It's not about A1, A2, where in our case it was A1, A2, A3, C3. So for them, it's popularity. Who is not popular in school? And let me tell you something, popularity in this age doesn't mean you have A1, doesn't mean you have A2.
Yes,
it's about the social impact that you are bringing on. I'm seeing a child tell a teacher in the school and saying that's my guy. Not because they're going out, but they know they can handle those teachers because, they know how to manipulate those teachers. And the teachers will be like, parents don't want trouble, so let me leave them. But at the same time, we keep forgetting that these children are bringing on social impact. All this social media things they're seeing more than their education.
We have a caller. Sorry, I think I've been keeping the person for so long. We are so sorry today. Hi, are you there? Hello, thank you for calling. Samuel, so sorry for keeping you. Go ahead, please.
You are going to pay for my drink.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, a quick one. We are in a age whereby you find 2 or 3 years old children operating your phone. How do you want to keep those phones away from them?
Let me ask you.
If your man made a point, and the truth of the matter is this. Anyway, let me quickly give part of my own background. One, I've never posted anything like a secret before. I took it because of a friend.
Thank you.
Do you know
Pressure.
the guy I gave of smoking? In my own era, you find by 4 o'clock, then, you can only tune into TV station by 4 o'clock. But this day, it's not like that. You are in the era of children learning coding at the age of 2-3 years old. Children learning ICT.
And you say you should not give them a phone.
From them. So we come to the solution. I think the solution is monitor your children. The girl in question, if we were to check all her activities on phone, she's not new on internet. She's not. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Samuel. So sorry for keeping you.
There's something called cyber safety, and it's a different ball game entirely from what we do. It's on, but a lot of, and that's what I'm talking about.
We're going to bring in confidence, right? The cyber security lady that we have, our in-house guru. We're going to bring it because I think we've talked about it before, but I think it's important to re-emphasize how you can put those locks and control. But you see, where me idea, but I think we have another caller. Thank you for calling. You're live.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
You're welcome back. Almost a week.
It's not a week, it's 3 days. Thank you.
It looks like
welcome back.
It looks like 1 month.
But I want to be on the same lane with EC this evening. She was making a very valid point. For me, our parents did a good job with us.
Okay.
The proportion of parents that are raising failed children today, you must look at their background. As a parent, it's a psychological war you have with your children. Do your part, put them in the hands of God. Then thirdly, you must use the carrot and stick approach. You must be rigid when you need to be rigid, and you must be flexible when you need to be flexible. There's time for everything. The modern day parents that had the good upbringing of our parents, they compromise so easily these days, either by inferiority complex, or because of the environment they find themselves, or because they are not intentional to know that they are parents. They are kids, they are teenagers. From teenage age, they go to youth and they become adults. At every stage of every child's life, as a parent, you must groom that child to know that there's truth, there's what is right, and there's what is wrong. A half-truth is a whole lie. The parent of that girl that the video is trending has failed. There's no going saying about it. A lot of parents today, we compromise too much. Issy was trying to make a point. When we were growing up, a lot of the ladies today in their 40s and 50s, there are some certain things that 13 years or 10 years old girls are doing now that they couldn't do even when they were 18 or 20 years.
Peter, the question I want to ask you is, do you think our parents would have the success, in quotes, that you are claiming that they've gotten with parenting if they were the ones parenting at this age of today? Don't forget that there were no options then, right? There were no options. So you cannot really match it up to say that they were successful because we didn't have options.
You know, the digital age. You are teaching towards the digital age. Are we not saying they are wonderful and brilliant, successful children from good homes, even with this digital age that we have? There's time for everything. Why do you think that the Chinese have been able to censor certain things on the internet? In this part of Africa, we've tried to bring in Western life into our own culture. There are some certain things a child must do when he's 10, when he's 15, when he's 18, when he's 20, and when he's 30. We compromise too easily.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So I like the argument because it gives room for a broader conversation. You know, I just like to compare apples and apples, right? Oranges and oranges. Because me, I know that, okay, so for instance, while I was growing up, now just the grace of God, you understand? Because my parents would leave the house quite early because they had to go to work. And sometimes they don't come back home till like 11 p.m. at night. Do you get? So we didn't have a lot of options too. And because we were a lot, you know, it was easy for you to have like play mate with yourselves and all of that. But me, I know, I can't even say it because she might be watching. I cannot say the number of things that we did. The fact that we turned out right, my mama will kill me this night. The fact that we turned out right, you understand, is just because, first of all, they were very prayerful and it was the grace and the mercy of God. But I'm saying that if that option was, if, for instance, that we had the access that this our children have today, hey, let me take another call. Sorry, we've been holding them down. Thank you for calling.
Good evening.
Hi.
Ua is back. You're welcome.
Thank you.
We don't miss you. We don't miss you.
Okay, good though.
Yes, you see, I think that I called the other day and I was kind of hot with the whole thing. You see, it's kind of painful where you see parents lose it. You know that I said about parents and people were kind of, why am I on the parents? I said, trust me, it's what you mold that you get. Garbage in, garbage out. I still insist that parents need to calm down and understand that you cannot achieve everything in a second. You got to take this thing step by step. You cannot give your child in hands of another person, be it maid or anything, and you leave by 5 a.m., you come back by 11 p.m., and you expect things to be normal. It's impossible. In our days, why our parents succeeded is because they had time. I remember my mother used to be a trader. She leaves, but she make up time. You know that my mother don't come back unexpectedly. She will just come in the middle of the day to check around the area and see how we are doing and whatever. So I've told you people that, look, anything you prepare for your child today, make sure you have full knowledge of that thing and you have access to it and you own it. E.g., if you're buying a phone for your child, you tell that child that we are going to create a password for the phone. And any app that you put that I don't have knowledge about, I'm deleting it. You create fear in these children. Now, what helped us those days? And from my Jumbo level, I'm a testimony of myself. In those days, we have community training, where you are more afraid of your neighbors than even your parents, because they will tell. This is the situation. You know that I was about the mother and they were saying something. I think yesterday I saw it on tabloids, the picture of the mom of that girl. where the woman day as she day. Forget that first one when she called the cry. You understand me? So things like that. A tree cannot fall. A tree cannot fall far from his.
An apple cannot fall far from the tree.
I mean, for me,
thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot happening these days. Parents need to come back.
And they need to wake up. Yes. Thank you. Quickly.
I'm not going to. I actually love everything they talked about, but it's going to always be in the record. There will be people that will fail, and there will be people that will be successful. Whether we go back to 1920 or parenting, there are people that failed at that age. Whether we come to 1980 or parenting, there are people that have failed and there are people that have done well. My father has a big hotel, and we had to walk in there. So imagine who and who we were exposed to. You understand? And it's so big that we have all the yakini coming in, and you have all kind of people. But the thing is, what will I take out from there? My dad was never alone because I didn't live with my mom. But there was just something he just keeps telling us, that whatever you're doing now, know that this is like when Yoruba say is what a bird eats, that the bird will use to. It's whatever you're doing now. So we are a remnant. Whatever parenting we're doing now is a remnant of what we have gotten. Do you understand? So the values and everything, I'm not saying they're all right. But that is what I'm telling you with, it's not a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah, you have to be intentional. Let me take a call.
And that's what I'm saying about intention, and that's what they are talking about.
Let me take a final call. Sorry, darling. You're live. Go ahead quickly. Hello, are you there? Did we lose the person?
Okay.
Hi, go ahead, Ogene. Go ahead, quick. You're live.
Oh, thank you. Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening.
So nice to speak to you finally.
Go ahead.
Okay. See, this whole scenario that we're surrounded right now, it's so disturbing. First, the children on their own part, I just feel they are just being unappreciative. These parents go out to work as hard as they can. Fine, it's unfortunate that, okay, we can't have it all. You can't go out there to work so hard and at the same time you have all the time. Yes, the parents have their own faults too in terms of finding time for the children, quite agreed. But as much as we can provide for them, why won't they just listen? There's no parent that wouldn't have laid basic rules that don't do this, don't do that. You still find that they will go out of their way just to please themselves.
Absolutely.
Then the next thing, you raise your hand, we'll hear the next thing, child abuse. And then other abuse, they say raise me. Not in my head correct.
Thank you so much.
Seriously, sometimes we need it.
Thank you so much.
We need it. I'm being honest. It's so disheartening. You can't go out there to work so much, and yet this is the payback you get as a parent.
It's true.
It's unfair.
Thank you so much, Ogene. Sadly, we ran out of time, but quickly, I was going to say that I like the idea of what Isi was saying about buying into their emotions, because if you are able to gain your child an emotional connection, the child will always feel like, I need to please my parents.
I will say something that what parents need to understand. Self-discovery and children trying to discover themselves leads them to a lot of things. We need to teach children self-discovery as a parent. We need to teach them self-esteem. Self-esteem has made most of these children do those videos. See, let me tell you something. Because we are exposed to a lot of these schools and a lot of children. We've seen worse cases that parents don't know that children are exposed to.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of program going on. And I think people like Praise for Where has program going for children.
Absolutely.
If you can't do it by yourself,
look for the professionals.
Thank
you so much, ladies. Thank you, everyone. We're sorry we can't take messages. We ran out of time. But thank you so much, Boledi. Thank you, Isi. Jennifer, thank you. She was there, but she couldn't hear us. All right, so before we go, ensure you follow us. Follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements online. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. If you missed today's quote, here it is again. Parents can only give good advice or put them on the right path, but the final forming of a person's character lies in their own hands. It's as simple as that. We'll see you guys live tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy. Welcome to TWU Conversations. Today, we're talking about parenting in the 21st century. That is, parenting in the age of social media. I have 2 girls. One is 13 and the other is 10. But she's 11 tomorrow. So I have to say that, otherwise she's going to kill me. Do you know how difficult it is to parent in the age of social media? Sisters, are you ready for today's topic?
Yes, we are.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're talking about parenting in the 21st century. The good thing is that we all have kids that are varying ages, and we have been able to parent our kids. Your kids are older than my kids. Mine is 10 and 13. How do you think we're parenting our kids now that are different from how you parented your kids?
Well, I can't speak to how people parent their kids, but I can speak to what I see in the way their children behave. And one of the things I find is that there's a lack of consciousness of the need to be polite, civility. There's a lack of consciousness about value systems, the importance of value systems. For example, if you say to a child, what do you want to be? The child will say to you, I want to make money. Is that the answer to the question? So which means that what are they hearing at home? What are their parents saying? Are their parents laying too much emphasis on the importance of money and what money can achieve? Is it something they're doing instead of emphasizing integrity, truthfulness, working hard? Because working hard is not a value that people seem to instill in their children these days, parents.
Yes.
So you'd rather get somebody to sit for your child's exam. And so that child, you're telling the child there's always a shortcut. And that's what I find. Children these days seem to always be looking at, oh, but there's a shortcut, but you can pay somebody to do this. But what about you? Why can't you do it? And that's not how my children were brought up. They were brought up to do things and to be punctual, and that letting people wait for you is a bad thing. Do you see what I'm saying? And I don't see why it should be different. I don't see why the 21st century child should be different from a child born in the 20th century at all.
We're talking about the value system.
Yes.
And where are we getting our value system now in this age of social media? When you were bringing up your kids, our value system were the community, the immediate community. Now we're talking about a community that is like millions of kilometers away. What do you think?
You broached 2 issues there for me. First of all, the influences are different now and from then. In the 20th century, while children had started playing games, TV games and online, not online, social media, video games. Social media was not such a large part of life. So the influence was slightly different from outside. From inside, I see no reason why it should have changed in terms of what a good parent should be imparting on their children. And then you mentioned the African setting, and I like to use the word ethnic instead of African, because we're not the only ethnic people on the face of the earth. Chinese are ethnic, the Indians are ethnic, and they've been able to keep ethnicity in the home, in their children, in the raising of their children. So the problem here is the fact that while we're losing ethnicity, we're taking on something else. Unfortunately, we're taking a bad version of that something else. That is what I have experienced also in terms of 21st century parenting.
Well, it just came to my head when you were talking. What is socialization? What part does it play in making this change?
I'll make a comment on that.
Yes.
I always say that people think you go to school to learn how to read and write and and to know the subjects. You go to school to learn how to socialize with others.
Skills.
So your first socialization is at home, what your parents teach you. Then you go outside to learn that if you say something I don't like, I might slap you. So it helps you to contain yourself and behave well.
Okay,
but if you socialize, exactly,
yes.
if you socialize with people who are doing the wrong thing,
yes.
then it is very likely you will pick those things up if your home influence is not strong enough.
Okay.
Like, I like that point, because when I used to say to my children, peer pressure. Who is pressuring who? Why should your peers pressure you? Why are you not pressuring them? So it depends on the strength of what you're getting, the parenting you're getting from home. That gives you the confidence to be able to be the one that is pressuring peers rather than, because if there's a vacuum, if that parenting, proper parenting is not there from home, then they are going to be filled, that vacuum is going to be filled from outside. So socialization can happen.
So these parents that were raised in the 20th century, they should, the parents, how are they getting it wrong? Why? Because they were raised differently from how they're raising their children. Yes, so what's
right
the
now,
change?
In Lagos, for instance, both parents are working. The reality is, a lot of children get on the school bus at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. They're there till whatever time, 6, 7 in the evening. They do after school because you're trying to make sure your child's in a safe place. So you're obviously taking care of the safety, but maybe you're not concentrating too much on what the child is ingesting in that period. So whatever influence that the child stumbles upon is what they really pick. And the reality is, when you come back from work at 8 or 9, that's not the time you're going to probably instill whatever it is your parents were able to instill in you. So it's really a challenge for a lot of parents, especially in like very tedious towns. Maybe it's not an excuse, but
always worked.
But they used to close at 4 now.
But what is so different now?
Not really.
Personally, I didn't close at 4.
Why is it different now?
Well, okay, see, when we were at school, secondary school, we used to close at 1. Now, I found it amazing that most secondary schools close at 3:30 now.
Yes.
So I used to ask when my children were little, when do they get to be children?
Yes.
Because we had that between 1 and 3:30. We had siesta, we had lunch, we had the bath. Then play started about 4. So we'd have that black and white thing would come on the telly, and then and then by 7 we'd have a bath again, and then dinner. Yes, so we had a routine. Now they're in school. By the time they get home from traffic, between 3:30 and 6, they're exhausted. There's homework to do. Yes.
And so our children are doing too many things.
Socialize in the home.
Okay.
So whatever influences they're getting, social media in school has a greater chunk of their time because it sucked it all up.
The thing is that parents are not aware of their responsibilities, I think. Parents have always worked. My parents worked, and I worked. My husband worked, So it can't be that it's an impossible thing. It's not an impossible thing. But I have conversations with my children. You have to talk to your children. You have to know who your children are. And I've been invited before to talk to children in a school because they were giving problems, quote unquote. And they said to me that, first of all, their parents believe everything the teachers are told. And so at one level, they shut down. There's no need to tell the parents anything because they won't believe us anyway. And then they said that, and the parent and the teachers gossip about them in the staff room, that they believe whatever they want to believe. So right there, they're shutting down from adults. So who else are they looking at? Other children, the way things are in other places that they see on TV, and the things they get on social media. So there's a failure on the part of parents to recognize the importance of interaction with their children.
Yeah, but how do you live in a house with your child and not interact?
I was going physically and digitally.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of parents, because our children are on social media now, because the statistics says that...
Okay, so I'll send my child a text message.
No, statistics says now that from 8-year-old below, they're online for like 2.5 hours a day. The teenagers are online for about 9 hours a day.
8 years and below.
Below, because we've given them this tablets, video games and stuff. Yes, we're doing that. It is a choice, but that's what we're doing. And for ages of 9 to the full teenagers, they're online for about 9 hours. So you're doing the Snapchat, they're online, they're doing their homework online. My children do their homework online.
If you allow it.
Exactly.
It's not that I don't allow.
That's where all the influences come from.
Do you not allow that? Talking about parenting.
Yes, school time, no.
What is your intention as a
Yes,
parent? Are you actually dictating and structuring your child's life despite the fact that you're not there, you're at work? Like Ifeoma said, I worked, but I could say to you what my child was doing at different times. And can I just bring up something? We're talking about discussions with children, talking to them, instructing them. There is one big chunk of parenting that people overlook and don't realize. Children are watching what you're doing and what you're saying when you're not talking to them more than when you're instructing them. And when a parent, like she said, there's a funny song going around now. I don't want to be in trouble, for libel. There's a song about money, and if you don't have money, what you should do. And a parent is singing it in the house and giving the child the impression that that's the right way, that's what life is about. So a lot of it is also coming from the parents themselves, the values the parents themselves have imbibed, and therefore...
Should we put that at the table of the 20th century? Because the parents of today were born by the parents of the 20th century. So what did they do wrong?
Where did they get it
wrong? Where did they get it wrong?
Because I think that to be honest, sometimes I actually judge myself for this. I actually say that I feel like we're not as involved and not as deliberate and not as conscious. For me, my child is 2. When it's disturbing me, I just give me iPad. Please, can you just watch this thing? And then I know that's how, so that you get, and then after a while, I started to say, this boy is addicted to this thing. So now, I say during school days, I have to be, because you're stressing me. So it's more convenient for me to actually just do the thing.
Exactly what we're saying. It's action.
But I have to be conscious about it, because at the end of the day, what am I training this boy? So I make sure that my husband and I are like, you know what, throughout the week, no iPad, weekends, but it's difficult, and I think we're getting lazier by the day.
There are more options about how to occupy a child. Is what it is. Because when I was growing up, it was books. My mother bought books.
Yes.
And the TV we watched had to do with education, And so for me, watching TV is not compulsory. I don't feel that if I don't watch it, there's something wrong.
We need to go on a break, and I want us to talk about indoors and outdoors. In today's crime, kidnapping, before we send our kids, they go and ride bicycles outside. Yes. Today, a lot of parents cannot do that. We'll talk about that when we come back after the break. Welcome back. Before the break, we talked about our children being indoors now most of the time, and how, because of security issues, we have to keep them indoors. So let's talk about homeschooling. Can we do homeschooling now? Is it something that Nigerians do?
Homeschooling presupposes that you as a parent can teach, or that you can get in somebody who will teach. So you have to be able to afford it in the first instance. My personal experience with teachers is that a lot of them, I'm sorry, the ones that people use for lessons, I had to teach my children for common entrance, because I felt that the way they were being taught, the person who was supposed to teach them those so-called things, maths, that I knew more maths than the person, So you can't guarantee that the teacher you get. So that's one danger in homeschooling. And as a parent, will you supervise? If you can't even supervise when they're going to schools outside, how are you going to supervise when they're schooling at home? Because homeschooling presupposes a certain level of supervision. In any event, it's foreign to Nigeria.
Discipline. The curriculum you need to follow about homeschooling.
Yes, there is parenting. I always believe that one parent must be available at every point in time to supervise the activities that children, do while they are socializing at home.
So we're delegating too much now?
Yes, because now most nannies are illiterate. Yes. So she can't do homework. So the chef is cooking. The gate man is manning the gate. So, so sometimes you look, when you live abroad, because you have to pay for childcare and the rest of it, you have to take a decision as to who goes to work. So if I, for instance, I earn more, sometimes the man decides he's going to be house, husband, and parent. So we could save the money. It's always about the money. Now, if we have that in Nigeria, you want to save money. So, okay, you earn more, you are like in the corporate world, and you have a better job, and the man is a teacher, and is not earning so much. But it will save a lot of money on school bus and all those things. We don't make those kind of decisions here. Because why should your husband sit at home? He's a man, so they will say that you're feeding him.
Let me introduce that to you, because I want you to answer it. Today, there are a lot of programs for women empowerment. Rightly so. But whenever you change something that has been going on for a while, there's always going to be a gap.
Resistance, yes.
There's a gap that has been left in the home when the woman decided to do full-time work. So, because the men left and delegated to the women, now the woman has decided to go, and there's a gap in that place. But do you think we're too ambitious? Do you think that a woman, a married woman, should delay her career so that she can do something for her children at least at the young formative years? Do you think
that's a wonderful question? In fact, it's speaking to what I was going to say to her comment about the presence of the mother at home. Ifeoma had made mention of the fact that she worked, her husband worked, I worked while raising my own children, And, you know, she was in banking. I was in banking. I was in accounting practice. Was still, you know, long hours. Something I've always said, and I'll come to women empowerment, is that the sheer physical presence of a parent at home does not necessarily mean she's parenting well.
Absolutely. Okay, but that's...
So there are a lot of women who are sitting at home and are not having the positive effect they should be having.
Yes.
So let us first of all not use that as an excuse for people not to go out and work. So being there doesn't mean you're doing it right. Okay. So it is the intentionality and the consciousness of what you're doing and the stewardship you feel towards parenting that matters. When it comes to women empowerment, honestly, personal opinion, I believe that you can make sacrifices for your children even while you're in good career and work. She's told you she did her children for common entrance. As I went on while I was at full-time work, there was a stage of my life when I went on part-time. I carried on working because I knew that for me, I needed that affirmation of work, and it was important. And I think my children probably would have enjoyed me more because I satisfied that part of my need and then be a parent also. But I honestly do not feel that giving up a career or giving up work life, you can schedule it, you can play around it, you can, you know, so that your sacrifice time
but not a lot
is
of
created.
companies give you that leeway now to have part-time work. You know, in Nigeria, they suck you up your entire time.
I've seen mothers who say they are not following career because they want to parent. Meanwhile, they start a business and they're not there either. And it sucks all of it off. So you
find a way.
You find a way.
Because, for example,
find a way.
I would do was, I didn't work late in the office, but I took work home.
Exactly.
I was in corporate finance, so I could
take work
do
home.
analysis at home. So I'd close, go home, then after my children were in bed, I could work till 2 a.m. That sort of thing. And then there was a time I took a year off work. And when I was about to go back to work, one of my sons said, oh, Mom, we didn't go back to work. I said, you see all these things we're doing? He said, yes. I said, that's what pays for it. You know, that you generate income to be able to do the things that you want to do. But money is a tool. It's not a means, it's not on itself, it doesn't mean anything. And that's one thing we have to teach our children. The importance of the right value system, because that is what we're talking about here and talking about parenting. We're not passing on those things.
Role modeling. I want you to take on this role modeling and what parents of the new generation are doing. And we're sharing everything. We're competing. We're taking, our baby is walking and we have our phones and we're taking a picture, we're capturing, we're updating it, we're putting on social media and all that. And the kids see us. They know that, oh, let me post like this so Mommy can take a picture and share it online. Oh, Mommy, did you share that on social media? Oh, Mommy, how many likes? Oh, Mommy, that is what you hear now. How many likes? How many likes? Of course. So what do you think?
So
what are we doing?
Talk about role modeling, I wanted to actually say, I'm one of those people that sort of stepped back from my career because of family. I remember when I got married, I had to relocate for a while. And at first, I remember I was dating my husband now. I remember him saying he was going to move away for work for a while. And I said to myself, not like I was particularly enjoying the job, but it just seemed like you were going to take out the power from me. I don't know. There was just something. I remember going to America and standing by the window and crying. I'm like, oh my God, what happened to me? Because I felt like my life suddenly stood still. And people could never understand it. However, when we finished, we started to have children. And then I have 2 now. And I remember saying, when my son was like 2 months, I'm like, I'm ready to start working, I'm ready to start working. He's like, this child is not even old enough. When you go to look for a job, what are you going to explain are your reasons? So if you want to, maybe you should just do it. And then I remember the pressure I felt from outside. People always saying, so what are you doing now? So what are you doing now? And I couldn't always explain what I was doing. And then it almost seemed like, so you just, in fact, when I was traveling, someone actually said, so you quit your job because of a man. I don't understand what you're doing. And it got to me because it wasn't just a man on the street. It was somebody I was now married to, and I had to be a decision. So my husband and I decided that, okay, after a while, maybe when your kids are a bit whatever, and then he's open to you working. So I know it's a challenge for a lot of women when they leave this thing. People don't understand the pressure that the society puts on you when they keep asking you, what are you doing? What are you doing next? So me, I started to, so I wanted to be like, when they ask me, I'm selling this or I'm doing something, just so that I don't feel like I'm left behind or there's something I'm missing out. Now to role modeling, I feel like we have to be conscious. I beat myself up sometimes because I'm like, Anne, this child, you think he's too small to notice, but there's some things that he now picks up. I'm thinking to myself, God, you have to do better. So I think as parents, it's important for us to always remember that even when they are young, they're actually watching you and they're picking up this thing. Me, I know I need to do better, and I think that parents out there, as long as you're conscious, as long as you know that you have to be deliberate, these children didn't just drop, and you have a responsibility to raise a wholesome individual, then...
I think it's fundamentals. Yes. Honesty. They must see you being honest. They must see you being kind, compassionate. I'm very big on please, thank you, good morning.
Thank you, good morning.
You know, yes, I'm very big on things like that because
they
don't correct them. And those are basic things that you must do in the home to appreciate. We used to say, after dinner, we used to say thank you to my mom and dad.
Yes.
For providing for us to have this comfort. You know, I will go into my, till today, my mom's 76, and I would knock on her bedroom door. I wouldn't just barge in. My children are trained not to barge into our rooms. From when they were little, you will knock on the door. If you don't hear an answer, you will go back until you come and knock and we say, come in.
Oh, wow.
Because I could be in a state of undress and so could their dad. So you don't, but kids these days, you know, you see children talk to teachers like, do you know who my dad is?
Entitlement.
You know,
can I ask the younger parents? Sorry, it's just a question. Can I ask the younger parents? Why do you imagine that you don't put strict rules to your children? From what need is that?
Okay. I know that a number of our generation, they're always talking about, oh, this is how my parents, you know, parented me, and I do not want that to happen to my children. We all say that, oh, my father deprived me of this, or my father didn't allow me to touch this, or this was daddy's food, and I don't want that to happen. Exactly. So what you find out now is I don't want to deprive my child of anything. If you want to go out, just make sure you bring all your friends home. I want to see them. Just tell me where you're going. Oh, take the phone when you're going out. So we're actually trying to pamper our children, give our children things that our parents deprived of. They deprived us because they wanted to teach us something.
Yes.
But now we're giving our children because we want to give them everything our parents did not give us.
Okay. I also think that a lot of parents are subject to peer pressure themselves. Because you see, you're looking at what other people are doing more than your children are.
Yes.
You know, so you're always comparing. And so what you're doing is you're bringing that behavior home, and that's what they're seeing. And you're asking them questions like, oh, does this person have it? Or the parents are, do they have it? My children...
You mean a parent asking the child?
Yes, if you know, that you see...
Like
what,
if you misbehave, you won't travel for the summer.
Yes.
Or you will travel economy, you won't travel first class.
They ask what their friends have so that they'll know whether or not to provide it. And my own was, whenever my children came home from school and had a conversation and mentioned any toy, they never got it. Even they were not asking for it too. They were just talking about it that a friend had it. They didn't get it because they had things that other people didn't have. You can't have everything. If you don't teach a child that you can't have everything, when they grow up, when they can't have it, they're going to find a way to get it. And that's why we have all the problems we have in society.
Line you can use for this, another line, I use that a lot. They refer to their friend's house. Oh, they do this in that house. And usually I would say, you would have to go and live in that house. Yes. So by the end of the time, my children were saying it to each other. If one said it, the other one will reply, you're about to move to the other house.
You know? Ask, what's the place of balance? Since you have older kids, what's the place of balance? Because a friend of mine said something recently, I think she's in her 30s and she's still not married. And then she said her mother instilled so much fear, which was the thing of the time at the time. You know, her mother put so much fear that she gave an instance of when school was on strike, uni was on strike, and then some boy, because she used to live in the school, some boy now said, you know, this girl lives here, let me just stop by and say hello. The sight of the boy and the terror of her mother's reaction, she almost slit her wrist. Why would you come? Why would you come here? Oh my God, my mother is going to kill me. Because the mother is very stern and very strict. No boys in your house and all of that. And then now it has affected her in life because now her mother is asking her, why are you not married? But then she's found it very difficult to... So I'm thinking, what's the place of balance now?
Can we use that as our last word?
Yes. Okay.
Balance is everything in life. Because there are always two sides, there are always extremes. And balance presupposes that it's the middle ground. There are different styles of parenting at different ages for children. And you have to recognize when your children need more one-on-one conversation. And when they, at the beginning, it's don't do this, don't do that. You can't keep that up with a teenager. It has to be, okay, I don't think that's the best thing to do. And this is the reason why. Let's talk about it. Okay, that's what you think. Today, let's just do it this way. And it continues like that. So you develop a continuous relationship with your children. You must be able to have that. And don't say, you're my child, not my friend, because trust me, it's always better for your child to become your friend.
For me, balance is for you to know, as a parent, that discipline is not a taboo. Discipline is not a bad thing. It's actually a positive word. And that the stewardship you have towards that child includes discipline. It includes love. It includes conversation. It includes friendship. But never, ever leave discipline out of it. And that, I think, will help you with balance.
Communicating effectively. I always like to say to my children, I need to tell you why we're doing a particular thing the way we're doing it. That way, it's not a do or don't. It's, I understand why mom says that these are the pros and the cons of having this particular action. Now that I have young adults and teenagers, if you do a particular thing that is wrong, these are the consequences, and you'll be made to face the consequences. So nobody's going to, cushion you for that. So for me, it's effective communicating with them so they understand why they're doing what they're doing, the way they're doing it.
I have the youngest kids here, so I've learned from all of you that, in everything that you're doing, there should be moderation. You make sure that you keep a balance between them. So I'm going to try that and make sure that I'm not that harsh parent that will make my child go kill themselves because they think that what they've committed is as bad as that, and in reality, it's not as bad as.
How about you?
For me, we all just have to be conscious and deliberate in how we're bringing up our children. And if you don't know what to do, get a book and get somebody else to mentor you. That's the most important thing. We have to do this right because we're bringing them out into the world. Thank you, and see you next time.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
on Plus TV News Now. President Buhari directs security chiefs to rescue all persons in captivity. Botswana ex-leader Kama accused of illegally possessing firearms. President Biden announces new $800 million round of military aid to Ukraine. Hello and welcome. Good evening, I'm Tolu Ojewumi and this is the news now. President Muhammadu Buhari has once again issued fresh directives to security agencies to rescue all those in captivity across the country and advance the acquisition of intelligence. The National Security Advisor, Babagana Munguno, told State House correspondents after the National Security Council meeting that the president is not happy with the prevailing security situation. According to him, the last straw was the recent attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train, leading to the killing of some passengers and kidnapping of schools. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has disclosed that amid growing insecurity in the country, the creation of state police will be a better option than community policing. Obasanjo made this disclosure when the leadership of the National Association of Ex-Local Government Chairmen in Nigeria paid him a courtesy visit in Abeokuta yesterday. Obasanjo, who commended the initiative behind the formation of the body, said that the development clearly showed that some local chairmen in the country were better than even the top elected leaders. A community leader in Niger State has accused the Nigerian Air Force of killing 6 children and bombing houses in Koreve, Shiroro local government area of Niger State. According to the spokesperson of the Coalition of Shiroro Associations, COSA, Sali Sabo, the strikes occurred on April 13. However, the Nigerian Air Force is yet to react to the allegation. Meanwhile, terrorists have killed 17 people in attacks on Gaidam local government area of Yobe State. Around 24 fighters dressed in military-like uniforms and believed to be from ISWAP group sneaked on foot into Gaidam town late yesterday. They rounded up 9 people in a bar and slaughtered them, some with their hands tied behind their backs. They killed 9 people at the bar, including 2 women and a retired police officer. In the meantime, 6 persons have been confirmed dead, with an unspecified number injured, and that's following a bomb explosion that rocked a drink bar in Mashaya Market, Iwari community in Taraba State. The blast occurred on Tuesday. A visit to the scene of the incident revealed blood stains on the floor and a shattered local drinking joint. The anti-bomb squad of the Nigeria Police Force was also on the ground combing the area for a possible bomb detonation. Meanwhile, jihadists affiliated to the Islamic State have claimed responsibility for this attack. Now, the Special Task Force Operation Safe Haven in Jos has handed over 500 illicit small arms and light weapons to the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons.
During a brief ceremony at the task force headquarters in Jos, the commander of the operation, Major General Ibrahim Ali, stated that the weapons troops of the operation have maintained an offensive posture, leading to the recovery of a large number of weapons.
Have also remained resolute to checkmate all forms of crimes. As it stands today, troops have maintained an offensive posture, conducting several kinetic operations in the form of raid operations on criminal hideouts, rescue operations, cordon and search, stop and search, as well as patrols, amongst others. These have led to huge recovery of illegal weapons, drugs, and stolen vehicles used by the criminal elements.
The commander also used the occasion to dispel rumors that he is taking sides in the crisis-rocking Bassa local government of the state, calling such allegations unfounded and mischievous.
Contrary to this falsehood, it is pertinent to note that as a member of the armed forces, I have sworn my allegiance to defend the country and protect the lives and properties of all citizens, devoid of any ethnic, religious, or pecuniary sentiments. I have always emphasized my stand to be fair, just, and treat all equally.
The North Central chairman of the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, Major General Hamza Bature, retired. While receiving the weapons, commended the troops of the task force and charged them to make sure illicit arms are mopped up before the 2023 elections.
We also want to encourage you to step up the tide so that we'll be able to recover all illicit arms in the society so that we can have illicit arms-free society.
The weapons consist of 40 automatic weapons and 477 locally fabricated firearms.
The IGP Usman Baba Alkali has warned against attacks on police officers and facilities in the country, especially in the southeast region, saying such will no longer be tolerated by the force. He lamented the destruction of the facilities, other police operational assets across the country, and the killing of officers. He has also ordered the deployment of additional assets to support the fight against the criminals. Consolidating on the partnership with other navies around the world is top on the agenda of the Nigerian Navy. Chief Staff Officer, Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Hamza Kauje, gave this indication while hosting the Chief of the Atlantic French Naval Forces. Destiny Momo reports.
It's another milestone in the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and France. The Nigerian Navy and Atlantic French Naval Forces are using their connecting point, the Atlantic Ocean, to strengthen their collaboration towards sanitizing the hydrographic domain, especially the Gulf of Guinea. Their common objectives of ending piracy, trafficking, pollution, and securing maritime space took prominence in their discussions. Chief Staff Officer, Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Hamza Kauje, who recalled the long-standing relationship between the two forces, requested that Nigeria be made a vessel spare parts hub in the region, as many Nigerian Navy vessels are from France. These, he said, will contribute to the nation's economy, address the issue of delay in repairing vessels, which will in turn foster the fight against maritime crimes.
Navies everywhere in the world have some know-how about to tackle with the IUU fishing. And so the objective for us is to share this know-how and to contribute to foster the capability of the local navies, thanks to this cooperation and sharing of know-how, in order to improve the possibility to counter the IUU fishing. That, I think, is really the main course of action we have in the end today, a better cooperation.
Illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing is a threat to maritime security and needs a holistic approach to be checked.
Nigerian Navy, under the able leadership of Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, have just launched an operation called Operation Dakata Labarao. Literal meaning, please, literal meaning is stopping the thief. You are all aware that over some times now, we have had a lot of crude oil theft. Nigerian Navy has deployed over 26 vessels. When I say vessels, I mean different categories of vessels to the south-south, Niger Delta now, and there is this operation, Dr. Barao, is ongoing.
The collaboration is expected to secure the maritime space, not only in Nigeria, but the continent at large. Destiny Momo, Plus TV News.
Meanwhile, the Joint Task Force South-South Operation Delta Safe OPDS has flagged off Operation Octopus Grip within its joint operations areas. The operation is meant to tackle renewed activities of crude oil theft and illegal refining, which are affecting Nigeria's oil production output. Our correspondent Jesse Esse covered the ceremony at the NDDC jetty in Basambari, Nebe local government area of Bayelsa State.
Of the Chief of Defense Staff, General Loki Gamo, hereby flag off Octopus Grip.
Operation Octopus Grip is supported by the Defense Headquarters with 30 patrol vehicles among other logistics requirements. It will last for 90 days and crude oil thieves are advised to desist as the OPDS vows to go tough on offenders. The OPDS commander states their expectations from the operation.
At the end of this operation, it is expected that activities of oil thieves within the joint operations area would have reduced drastically and the integrity of oil and gas facilities relatively assured. I wish to therefore acknowledge the Chief of Defense Staff, General L.E.O. Irabo, for his support and guidance to the OPDS. In the same vein, I also appreciate the service chiefs as well as heads of all security agencies in the country for their support to the OPDS. I also wish to appreciate the governors of Rivers, Delta, and Bayelsa states for their cooperation with the Joint Task Force South-South Operation Delta Safe.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, is represented by the Chief of Defense Training and Operations. He speaks on the achievements of the OPDS, saying there is need for more successes.
The Operation Delta Safe has conducted several kinetic and non-kinetic operations which have yielded positive results in checkmating crude oil theft and illegal oil refinery activities in the Niger Delta region. All these operations so far made have made some positive results in containing the activities of pipeline vandals, kidnapping, sea piracy, communal violence, and other criminal activities in the South-South. Notwithstanding the numerous achievements so far recorded, there is still need to build on the successes achieved so far and persevere in the face of emerging new security threats through the conduct of a new operation codenamed Operation Octopus Grip.
With this drive aimed at creating safe and secure environment for NNPC oil and gas exploration activities within the territory of the OPDS, perhaps crude oil thieves will be denied their freedom of action just like previous operations. Jesse Esse, Plus TV News, Basambari.
INEC has made clear that the 2023 general elections will be held despite the security challenges in the country. The chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, stated this in Abuja at a public presentation of the 2022 to 2026 strategic plan and the 2023 election project plan. Yakubu explained that the documents presented were the third in a series of strategic election plans since the era of deliberate planning of elections started in 2012. According to him, the 2023 polls will be governed by the new electoral law, which contains provisions that will enhance the capacity of the Commission to better manage the electoral process. He pledged to ensure the safety of electoral personnel and materials, accredited observers, media practitioners, and voters. He then called for the support of all Nigerians to successfully conduct the polls. Now, a federal lawmaker of the PDP, Jerry Alibuso, has cautioned the party against using non-delegates for the primary election. Alibuso was speaking when he declared his interest to represent Imo West Senatorial District at the next general elections. He called on the party to provide a level playing ground for aspirants seeking various elective positions. He then vowed to sue the party if he noticed any form of irregularities in the conduct of the party's primary election.
I want the party to give us level playing ground, bearing in mind
those who will win the election after the primaries. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, while you are giving us the playing ground, please, I want you to note that you have a role, the party has a role to play. We have intelligence gathering that a lot of lists are flying, left, right, and center, Mr. Chairman. What Wadata advised, and what I know you're advising in this Imo state, is that all lists must pass through you.
And on behalf of the State Working Committee, I want to inform him that it's because of this desire to create a free level playing ground for everybody that we sat down and came up with a code of conduct for all party officers, all aspirants, and all party members.
This is a very special event which has been arranged and engineered by Honorable Jerry. Jerry is a very famous stalwart of this party from the grassroots.
A 38-year-old Dr. Ugochukwu Williams has since declared his intention to run for president under the umbrella of the PDP, making him the youngest aspirant in the party so far. Williams boasted that the over 100 million Nigerian youths would kick out the ruling APC in 2023 if he's given the party's ticket. He said he would introduce efficient technology-driven measures to tackle insecurity, deepen the content of democracy, and also rebuild the collapsed economy. He's the youngest presidential aspirant so far, and in the PDP. He's joining us now on the Primetime News to have a chat with us. Are you there, Doctor?
Yes, I'm here.
Glad to have you. So tell us, have you at any point met with any hiccups threatening you to back off from this race?
Come again, please.
Have you at any moment met with any hiccups threatening you to back off?
Yeah, nobody has threatened me, but I have had calls for me to collapse my structure to their own job.
Okay, what's your driving force? What motivated you to join the race?
Yes, what motivated me was the challenges of Nigeria and the desire for a younger and more vibrant to take over political position in Nigeria. Because I know that the young people have the capacity and the energy to take up the challenges of Nigeria.
Tell us about the Rebuild Nigeria project.
Yeah, the Rescue Nigeria project is not Rescue Nigeria, it's the Rebuild Nigeria project. You can't rescue without rebuild. The Rebuild Nigeria project, as Nigeria is today, every Nigerian knows that Nigeria is already collapsed. All the structure, the economy, the security architecture, and every sector of Nigeria is collapsed. So the Rebuild Nigeria project is to rebuild the collapsed state of Nigeria.
Okay, the Rebuild Nigeria project is to review and rebuild the collapsed economy, the collapsed system of Nigeria. And you are a youth, so you want to tell us about youth participation in politics?
Can you come again, please?
Do you want to tell us about youth participation in politics? So far, are you satisfied? Yes. What do you want to see changed?
Yes. The desire for change is the reason for our participation in politics. Over the years, the youth has not been fully involved in active politics in Nigeria. especially inclusiveness in governance, taking up political position, especially at the presidential position in Nigeria. At this time, I feel it is time for the young people to take over. And before now, we're talking about the youth as the leaders of tomorrow. I feel that tomorrow is now.
My last question to you. Now, I need you to answer me this very sincerely. Are you doing this for some social media clout?
Am I what?
Are you in this for some social media clout?
Can I get you clearly?
Are you doing this for some social media clout?
No. We are very committed to this project. And I have made it clear in every forum that we are determined to take over political position. We are not ready for social media clouds because we have all it takes to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. As a young Nigerian, we have all it takes to be the GCFR of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Taking up the position, controlling the affairs of Nigeria, controlling the 13 states of federation, handling the security architecture, handling the economic sector, handling the agricultural sector. We are fully ready and we are committed to this project.
I was to make that my last question, but you tempted me to add one more. You mentioned the security architecture. What are you going to do about the security situation if given the chance to handle the leadership of this country?
If you give it, if I become the president of the Republic of America,
that's right.
Which I will. In the first month of my administration, I will introduce what is called safe community security. Using the security traditional apparatus to secure our community. Once we have secured every community in Nigeria, we have secured Nigeria. One of the things we are going to do is introducing what we call border security services, closing the entrances that infiltrators, bandits pass through to enter Nigeria to cause mayhem in our people. The DSG will take care of that. That is border security service. We will introduce that. We will also introduce a more technology-based security system, whereby we have to use technology-driven systems in securing rather than doing old model way of conventional means of securing them. I will also increase the recruitment of young people in Nigerian Army Navy. Currently, Nigerian police is doing 10,000, which is yet they've not done it for the past year. I think the first one now. Nigerian Army is doing 6,000 currently. Nigerian Navy is doing 5,000. If I become the president of this country by next year, we will increase it economic 50,000 for the first year. Navy, every year for our first 4 years, we will recruit 250,000, 200,000 in. And that will give us enough manpower to man the unmanned area in Nigeria. And that is one of our challenges. We have a lot of unmanned areas.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Ugochukwu Williams. It was a horrible night on the 28th of March for passengers traveling in a train from Abuja to Kaduna when bandits attacked and killed some of them, kidnapping hundreds. One of those whose life was cut short or the 29-year-old dental doctor Chinelo Nwando Megafu. Dr. Chinelo was at the face of the train attack because of her bravery. She tweeted the catastrophic moment, and it generated reactions from Nigerians and around the world. Our correspondent Paul George has more.
It was a solemn moment as family, friends, and well-wishers from far and near thronged Shepherd Hill Baptist Church, Obanikoro, to pay their last respect to the Megafools for the sudden death of their daughter, Dr. Chinelo Nwando Megafu. Engineer Ifeanyi Megafu, the father of the late Dr. Chinelo Nwando Megafu, played his saxophone in a tribute to her daughter. In his farewell message, he eulogized her daughter and said he has forgiven the terrorists who killed her child and abducted many others.
Finally, the past 3 weeks have been quite traumatic. A serving member of this government introduced himself to me, and I told him, I know you, sir, I see you on TV. Called ostensibly to commiserate. But the next things he said were completely political, forgiving them all of them. I have also forgiven the country that enabled all this to happen. But you both need the forgiveness of God, and that is the one that counts. Heaven knows about that.
The senior pastor of Shepherd Hill Baptist Church, Reverend Dr. Israel Christy Leary, in his message said Dr. Chinelo had lived a life and that those who are still alive should make heaven their goal.
Discovered that Chinelo had a way of becoming first in many areas. She was the first of Engineer Megafu's children. She was the first to visit the earthly Jerusalem, and sadly, the first in the family to see the heavenly Jerusalem. But have you realized that the only degree Chinelo is taking away is BA, not a MBA, BS, or whatever they call it. And what is that BA? Not Bachelor of Arts. Is born again.
Other sympathizers praised her bravery even in death.
Dr. Chinelo was a committed member of the profession who graduated from the prestigious University of Port Harcourt in 2017, and she has served this nation meritoriously. For us, it's a big loss, especially with the fact that we are very, very few in the profession in Nigeria.
It is with deep pain in my heart that I write, Chi. You were a very smart, intelligent young doctor who was humble and willing to learn as much as you could from your consultants and senior colleagues. You were not lazy.
Though we're not the same class, but we graduated the same set. Chinelo was very hardworking, dedicated. She was never punished. She was always punctual in whatever she was doing. She always kept a smile, diligent and dedicated. So basically, this loss is a very big loss to us and to our set as a whole. And we pray and that God will comfort the family and give them the courage to bear this loss.
As Nigeria continues to battle with banditry and kidnapping, Nigerians are in doubt whether the government will apprehend and prosecute the terrorists and rescue others while in captivity. Paul George, PlusTV News.
The case of alleged illegal dredging at Lagasa community in the Bejuleki area of Lagos has taken another dimension. PlusTvAfrica had earlier reported that members of the community, led by the Odofin of Ibejuland, staged a protest accusing Daily Motors of operating illegally. However, the Bali of the community, Chief Lamidi Amusa Joro, has refuted the claim. Justin Akanoye tells us more.
Members of Lagasa community are vividly angry about developments in the area, appealing to the government for help. They are accusing Daily Motors Limited of dredging on their land without a quarry lease agreement.
Minister for Mines has called us down to Abuja. We narrated everything to him. And even Minister himself knows what is going.
The Minister of Cadastral and Mining addressed us. And they asked him to show his cadastral consent, which he did. And the community leader and the chiefs find out the cadastral is fraud.
We catch up with the CEO of Daily Motors Limited, Okudili Umenyora, who provides documentary records of his agreement duly signed by the Bale of the community and other documentation from the Ministry of Mines and Steel. He explains the bone of contention.
So once the demarcation was done, they found out that they're not supposed to be dredging on my title because basically the area in which that title was domiciled was different from the area in which they were dredging. Well, the situation of things as we speak is the Bale of the land who signed the consent for me wants me to go ahead and continue my work like normal. But the other operators, illegal operators, they've now sent different tactics and thugs to go ahead and stop my mining operation.
As we seek answers, our investigation leads us to the Bale's compound. The aged leader tells his own side of the story. The villagers also allege that Umenyora used thugs to make life unbearable for them. However, the dredger retorts that he only used law enforcement to protect his investment.
There's complaint here and there. People, there's no rest of mine in Lagasa again.
I was just using enforcement and law to try and stop the illegal operators that were mining on my title, which is within the law. And every time I try and use enforcement and law to stop those illegal operators from operating on my title, then the other part of the villagers, the other side of the villagers, they now come to attack us.
Dili Umenyora wonders why the community would just wake up one day to foment trouble when he has been operating there since 2019. He speaks of plans to pursue the issue to its logical conclusion by involving the local and state governments as well as other legal options. Meanwhile, some community members are unrelenting. This time around, they converge on the Bale's compound in protests. Justin Akadonyi, PlusTV News, Lagos.
Lagosians are unhappy that no work has commenced on the Eco Bridge weeks after a fire incident burnt goods worth several millions of naira and caused serious damage, forcing motorists to use alternative routes. That's on Street Views. Take a listen.
We have a government in this country. You have leaders. They don't care for us. They don't care for us. They're just doing anything. The bridge affects us so much. Let the government open the bridge.
They should fix it so that we won't have this stress when driving. We are praying that someone should please do it for us.
As you can see, it's affecting everybody. So they should come visit everywhere in abroad now. 2 hours they've done it. So Nigeria government should move fast.
It's affecting us every day. Like what we are passing through here every day. Sometimes we spend more than 1 hour before we can go through the traffic. It's affecting us. We are begging government to just help us fix it.
Fix it quick now. Now the bridge all of us they use. If you know bridge, no us. Make it feed us, make all of us seafood to feed for our family.
We spend 2-3 hours. Like on Monday, we spend 5 hours. 5 hours of hold up. It is stopped every day. Not only one, it stops every day. It's very, very critical. It's traveling every day. Please let them know, let them help out know what they will do there. I beg. It's affecting us very well. In our buses, they keep complaining every day. You understand? One woman delivered a child last week inside the traffic last week.
Still ahead, Russian military advisor in Mali killed by a road bomb. We'll bring the details now. We'll return. Please stay with us.
Creative Industry Power presents one event, 4 locations, 7 days, 10 countries, 168 hours of fun in the city of Lagos. It's the Creative Industry Festival, C-Fest, from the 1st of May to the 7th of May, 2022. Get ready to rock and be rocked the creative way. For more details, visit www.festival.creativeindustrygroup.ng.com. For advert bookings and exhibition stands, call 0913-569-9010. Maximum security guaranteed. C-Fest 2022, powered by Creative Industry Power. Supported by PlusTvAfrica.
Now we get to other parts of Africa. Cameroon signed an agreement on April 12 with Russia for military cooperation as part of the continuation of military ties between the two countries for several years, with the emphasis recently on the revision of the military deal signed in 2015. In the 13-page document, the two countries agree to exchange opinions and information on defense policies and international security, development of relations in the areas of joint training, medicine, topography, or military hydrography. They also agree to exchange experiences and interaction in peace support operations under the aegis of the United Nations. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has spoken to the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, calling for a negotiated end to the conflict with Russia. Zelensky said on Twitter that he told Ramaphosa about Ukraine's resistance to Russian aggression and discussed the threat of a global food crisis. He has resisted calls to condemn Russia for its invasion of Ukraine and had blamed the military alliance NATO for not heeding warnings about its eastward expansion. Meanwhile, the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights has said that a Russian national on an operation with Malian soldiers in central Mali has been killed. It was the first confirmed death of a Russian in military operations in Mali since the ruling junta in Bamako called on what he described as instructors from Russia. A detachment composed of Malian soldiers and Russian instructors was said to have been attacked with an improvised explosive device near the town of Hombori. Meanwhile, an Egyptian court has sentenced a former member of the parliament and others to 10 years in prison for smuggling antiquities out of the country, fining them 1 million Egyptian pounds, that's some $54,000 US. The former MP, Ala Hassanin, and 4 others would serve 10 years, while Hassan Ratib, a prominent businessman, and 17 others will face 5 years in prison. Egypt has drastically stepped up efforts in recent years to stop the trafficking of its antiquities, which flourished in the turmoil following a 2011 uprising that toppled long-time autocratic leader Hosni Mubarak. Meanwhile, former Botswana President Ian Khama has been summoned to appear before a court to face multiple criminal charges, which include illegal possession of firearms. The former president was accused along with 3 others, including an ex-intelligence chief, a former police commissioner, and an ex-deputy permanent secretary. All 3 face a total of 38 charges. Libya's national oil company, NOC, has announced in recent days that it has halted operations at 2 major oil terminals, closing several fields. According to the NOC, daily output has been halved at a time when oil and gas prices are soaring under the impact of the war in Ukraine. At the center of the crisis is a dispute between the parliament led by Fathi Bachaga and the incumbent executive of Abdulhamid Beba in Tripoli. Let's get outside Africa now. President Biden has announced that the U.S. will provide another round of security assistance to Ukraine worth roughly $800 million as the war with Russia enters next phase, with Russian forces continuing their large-scale offensive to take control of Ukraine's east. Biden said the equipment will further augment Ukraine's ability to fight in the east in the Donbas region. The Defense Department said the package includes 72 155mm houses, 144,000 artillery rounds, 72 tactical vehicles to tow the houses, and 121 unmanned aerial vehicle systems known as Phoenix Ghost drones.
This package includes heavy artillery weapons, dozens of howitzers, and 144,000 rounds of ammunition to go with those howitzers. It also includes more tactical drones. We're sending it directly to the front lines of freedom, to the fearless and skilled Ukrainian fighters who are standing in the breach. You got to admit, must be amazed at the courage of this country, the resolve that they're showing, not just their military, but the average citizen, men and women, young men, young women as well. It's, the sustained and coordinated support of the international community, led and facilitated by the United States, is a significant reason why Ukraine is able to stop Russia from taking over their country thus far.
Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives Nancy Pelosi has said that the U.S. will consider additional aid for Ukraine. That's as soon as next week, after President Joe Biden had announced plans to ask Congress for more assistance for Kyiv. Pelosi made a statement during a photo opportunity with Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal before a bipartisan meeting about the needs of Ukraine. After calling Russia's actions in Ukraine something outside the civil behavior and circle of civilized human behavior, Pelosi said the Capitol will hold an exhibit of photographs from the war provided by the Ukrainian government starting April 28.
The aims of Russia are to create next crises. An energy crisis, we go through this in the winter time. Now they create migration crisis. Now their purpose and the aim is create food crisis in African, Asian and European countries. So I hope that United States also will take leadership position in this issue, in this directions, and will support Ukraine and all of the countries to stop and do not let Russians create next and next crises in the democratic countries all around the world.
He announced this morning some expanded sanctions as well as some opportunities to help meet the needs of the Ukrainian people. We have passed, as you know, a $13.6 billion legislation appropriation that is about humanitarian assistance, economic assistance, and military assistance. We want to do more. The president said he will be asking Congress for more. We'll learn about that in the next day or so, to be taken up as soon as we can next week.
The United Nations has said that more than 7.7 million people are estimated to have been internally displaced by Russia's war in Ukraine, having fled their homes but stayed within the country. The figure issued by the UN's International Organization for Migration is up from the 7.1 million estimates that it gave on April 5 of the internally displaced persons. In the meantime, British lawmakers have triggered an investigation into allegations that Prime Minister Boris Johnson misled Parliament in his initial responses to reports that he and his staff broke COVID-19 lockdown rules. Lawmakers approved a motion calling for a parliamentary committee to determine whether Johnson's denials of rule-breaking amounted to a contempt of the House of Commons in light of his subsequent police fine for breaching regulations. Before the motion passed, Minister Marco Ellis told the House that Johnson was happy to face whatever inquiries Parliament sees fit and is happy also for the House to decide how it wishes to proceed. An explosion claimed by the Islamic State group at the Shiite mosque in the northern Afghan city of Mazar el-Sharif has killed at least 11 people. A provincial health official said that a separate blast caused at least 11 more casualties in Kunduz. That's another northern Afghan city in one of the series of blasts around the country. Islamic State claimed responsibility for the Mazar el-Sharif attack, according to a statement on the group's Telegram handle. Up next, AFDB reveals plan to tackle high fertilizer prices affecting food production. That's in business news. After this short break, stay with us.
And in business news, telecommunications subscribers under the aegis of the National Association of Telecoms Subscribers, NATCOMS, have said that they are set to drag the federal government to court in May in a bid to temporarily suspend the government's barring of subscribers' outgoing calls. NATCOMS urged the federal government to extend the implementation of the SIM-NIN policy by 3 months, giving it 1 month to implement the ban. The federal government had on the 4th of April ordered telecom companies to bar outgoing calls on all lines that have not linked their national identification number and the subscriber identity model, a move which left about 72.77 million active telecom subscribers barred from making calls on their SIMs. And in a bid to enhance dialogue in the Nigerian power sector space, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has officially launched the Power Sector Recovery Program website. The website was officially launched at a media workshop on Power Sector Recovery Plans held in Abuja. The Power Sector Recovery Program, PSRP, is a comprehensive reform program aimed at improving power supply, restoring financial viability, and enhancing accountability and transparency in the power sector. The African Development Bank, AFDB, says it will partner with African countries to combat high prices of fertilizer through improving sustainable infrastructural efficiencies, including storage and fixing infrastructure required for food production. The Director of Agriculture and Agro-Industry of the AFDB, Martin Fregene, made the disclosure in a preparation for the 2022 annual meetings to be held in Accra, Ghana. Last month, food inflation in Nigeria rose to 17.2% in the review month, an uptick compared to the 17.11% recorded in the preceding month due to increases in prices of bread and cereals, food products, potatoes, yam, and other tubers, fish, meats, oils, and fats. And the World Bank President David Malpass has said that the world faces a human catastrophe from a food crisis arising from Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He said that record rises in food prices would push hundreds of millions of people into poverty and lower nutrition if the crisis continues. The World Bank calculates that there could be a huge 37% jump in food prices and that it will hit the poor hardest, who will eat less and have less money for anything else, such as schooling. And that's business news. Thanks for watching. I am Destiny Momo. The news continues.
We'll now serve you some entertainment news. Stay with us, please.
A$AP Rocky has finally got his freedom back. The A$AP Mob member has been released from prison after paying his $550,000 bail following his arrest at LAX over an alleged shooting that occurred in November last year. The 33-year-old MC hip-hop star was arrested by the Los Angeles Police Department upon his arrival from Barbados with Rihanna, who is currently pregnant with their first child. The LAPD made the arrest with help from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security investigations. Rocky reportedly shot at an alleged victim 3 to 4 times near Vista Del Mar and Selma Avenue following an argument. The victim sustained a minor injury from the incident and later sought medical treatment. Netflix has announced it lost 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter of the year, its first in over a decade. The streaming platform made the revelation in its Q1 earnings report. According to the report, one of the reasons for the major loss was password sharing, a problematic trend among users that's proven difficult to curb. Netflix revealed that over 100 million households are using the service through a password shared with them. The streaming giant has severally announced moves to cut password sharing. Last month, it announced testing a feature in Chile, Costa Rica, and Peru, which would see subscribers be able to add extra members for a small fee added to their monthly subscription. Netflix hinted that the feature will be explored in the US markets. The crew on the set of the movie Rust willfully violated safety rules and demonstrated plain indifference to employee safety, which led to the shooting death of cinematographer Elena Hutchins, according to a report released Wednesday by New Mexico Environment Department's Occupational Health and Safety Bureau. According to the report, gun safety procedures were not being followed on set. The film's management team knew it and failed to correct it. The agency head sharply criticized Rust production management for reportedly failing to adhere to safety regulations they claimed were in place. The state's environment chief said another factor potentially contributing to the ultimate fatal shooting on set was the fact that the set's Amora was also taxed with other unrelated duties. Rust Movie Productions LLC was fined nearly $135,000, the maximum allowed by New Mexico law, and issued the highest level citation for their actions.
Up next, some sports news.
Hello and welcome to Sports News on PlusTvAfrica. Manchester United have confirmed the appointment of Erik ten Hag as their new first-team manager. The 52-year-old Dutchman had been in charge of Ajax since 2017 and will continue in the role till the end of the current season. Erik ten Hag has been appointed from the end of the season until June 2025, with the option to extend for a further year. Manchester United said that the appointment is subject to work visa requirements. Now, Wimbledon announced the ban on Wednesday due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. As a result, Russian and Belarusian players will not be allowed to compete at Wimbledon this year because of the invasion of Ukraine. Men's world number 2, Daniil Medvedev of Russia, and women's world number 4, Aryna Sabalenka of Belarus, are the highest-ranked players to be affected. The players are also banned from any of the UK grass court tournaments. Wimbledon runs from 27th of June to 10th of July. Now, Hamilton and Williams have pledged an estimated £10 million each to the bid. Both Hamilton, 7 times Formula One world champion Anne Williams, who has won 23 Grand Slams, including 7 Wimbledon titles, have become established investors in their own right in recent years. The addition of Hamilton and Williams is considered a serious investment decision by the consortium because of their experience at building global sports brands. And that's all the sports news we have for you for now. Join us next time. My name is Mikhail Tinubu. Have a good night.
And the main news again. President Buhari has directed security chiefs to rescue all persons in captivity. Botswana ex-leader Kama has been accused of illegally possessing firearms. We told you that President Biden announced new $800 million round of military aid to Ukraine. That's the news now. For more stories, please follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I'm Tolu Jeremy. Thanks for watching, and do have a good night.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Yes, sure. You guys know what time it is. It is definitely time for tea and, of course, time to spill. Yes, we don't do gossip out here. We give you dope analysis, narrations, and, of course, dissection of the biggest entertainment story. We never go wrong. Sometimes we may. And when we do, we definitely do apologize. But today, I'm not alone. I'm with my main guy, my meanest of them all.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a lot of main guys. But you're my...
Like I'm the realest.
You're my family. Your family, my guy. Your family, my guy. How are you doing today, Kofo?
I'm good.
It's been a while. I haven't seen you. What's been up?
A lot of work, been up, and you should get used to it already because you'll be seeing me like, I'm trying to like make myself scarce.
This is what's waiting for, right? Like
anything
that is good is what waiting for.
You have to
like
just
I made
give me
Monday,
that time.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday I see.
Oh my God.
My baby girl.
Like.
Anyways, guys, you can join the conversation by calling in on 0909-8408. 408, of course, to share your opinions on trending discussion. And of course, you guys should definitely call in today. But you know what we do on Thursday? This Throwback Thursday, baby. Yeah. You ready? And today, Kofo chose the videos.
You guys wait. No. Let's put it out there. Don't let us do like that.
We
Actually,
had a bet.
Yes, we did. But initially, I had too many things on my table, and then when the producer called me this morning, I was like, "Are you still up to train the videos?" And I'm like, if it's going to kill me. And then I just went on YouTube, and I was just like, "Okay, this is what I want."
You're making excuses.
I know I'm making excuses, but then I really wish I gave you my quiz kind of songs and
me.
But today we are just doing the Nigerian style, and obviously you're going to know them. But then I'm still bringing the challenge to the table. I promise you guys, next week.
Okay.
Next week.
Okay.
I promise you guys.
All right, now, since Kofo chose the videos, let's see our first throwback video.
You're so mean.